need that sports encyclopedia. Where you at, Steve Kim? Got Trent in the cut.
What up, man? The real Coach JB. My main man, Big Smitty.
Are y'all ready for this?
Ground like something to prove it. Came to a conclusion that it's Smitty and JB and Smitty from West Coast to your side, worldwide, we in your city. Keep it 150, we never change what's happening. Hurdle link
In any metric, Coach, you cannot have Russell Wilson in your
Nick gave me my first offer. Like, you got to have that store. You got to be marketable.
Hockey, football, baseball, then basketball.
Oh, I love this fucking show so much, man. Are you mixing light and dark at 11 a.m.?
I'm elated that I can be able to coach, that I can be able to mentor these kids, and give them everything that I've learned over the last 20 years.
Get Smitty and Jason Brown, kill the ass a rap. We what the games been missing, we switched it and filled the gap. Smitty and Jason Brown, we killed the ass a rap. We what the games been missing, we switched it and filled the gap.
You are now tuned in to the Coach JB Show.
Hello? Can you hear me? Derek. Man, God, I hate this dang phone line, man. I'm sorry, JB. I spent all this dang money on this phone line, and the signal was horrible. I don't get it.
Guess what? All right, appreciate you. We got a new deal with Mint Mobile. I just saved your whole life in phone drama. Mint Mobile is now a new proud sponsor of the Coach JB Show with Big Smitty.
Stop
Big
playing.
Smitty, your problem's been solved.
We got a partnership with Mint Mobile? You talking about Ryan Reynolds, Mint Mobile? Stop playing right now. Hold on. Let me Google this real quick.
You can try mintmobile.com/CoachJB and get 3 months free when you use the promo code CoachJB.
Hey, man, I just did a quick Google search real quick to make sure you wasn't playing around. They got plans as low as $15? They got plans for $30, unlimited everything. Speed, coverage, data, access to 5G, unlimited talk, text, mobile hotspots. You can talk in Mexico, talk in Canada, and they're built on the nation's largest 5G network. Are you kidding me, JB?
Hey, and everyone wants to know how hard it is to switch to your service. Big Wireless wants to think it's hard. They want you to think it's hard, Big Smitty, but switching to Mint is super easy thanks to digital eSIM cards, which most phones now have. You can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone from the comfort of your own home. Mint Mobile does it all. Short, fat, skinny, and tall. That's why the Coach JB Show with Big Smitty is proud new sponsor using promo code CoachJB. Try mintmobile.com. This is where it's at. We got it, Big Smitty.
So, hey, I'm switching over to Mint Mobile right now, JB. I'm done with this company I'm working with. They crazy. The line, it never works. The signal is out, and it costs too much money. I'm going over to Mint Mobile, JB, and y'all should do the same.
Big Smitty, I'm calling you right now.
JB, Mint Mobile.
Mint Mobile, clear as day. I hear you clear. The new promo code Coach JB right here, 3 months free. Mint Mobile, try mintmobile.com/CoachJB and get you there free. 3 months off, family deals, all deals, short, fat, skinny, and tall. Mint does it all. Proud new sponsor. Much love. We'll see you later. Peace. What up? We got a loaded lineup today. It is Doc Talk Tuesday. Dr. Jesse Morse joins us on this Doc Talk Tuesday. We have so loaded of a show, we had to tell some people, come back tomorrow. That's how loaded we are today. We got Doc Talk Jesse Morse coming on. Big Dr. Jesse Morse. Right out the gate, we talk about the Super Bowl, NFL injuries, your DFS picks, who's playing, who's not. Christian McCaffrey's neck when he landed on his head. Is he in? Is he out? We're going to break that down. We got NFL talking head legendary Michael Lombardi joining us for I think he's been on here about 3 or 4 times. Shout out to Michael Lombardi. He's going to come on and give us a bunch of insight. Who's taking the Seattle Seahawks job? Who's taking the Washington Commanders job? Is Belichick, Pete Carroll, going to coach again? We're going to have Michael Lombardi on here for that one. Then we got Steve Kim joining us. Shakur made an announcement that he is retiring from boxing last night, and Steve Kim is all on top of it. We're going to break that down. Then we got Big Tank Johnson to wrap the show. He's going to come on and try to come at us. Me, Lamar Jackson, is JB a hater? What am I doing? Let's go. It's loaded. Doc Talk Tuesday. Pound the like, subscribe, become a member. We got a big one. Lamar chokes again. He chokes again. Oh, my goodness. Make it make sense. I can't wait to have that segment today. Brock Purdy. Purdy's still pretty average to me. Let me break it down today with Big Smitty on the show. McDonald to meet with the Commanders. One day after losing to the Chiefs. Horrible timing. We're going to break that down with Michael Lombardi. Jim Harbaugh says he was starstruck after meeting Herbert. We're going to break that down as well. Oh, Andy Reid comes out and says Tony's IG live video is all cap. It's all cap. Tony's injury was not made up, contrary to belief. We're going to dive into that. The Chargers to hire Horowitz as GM from the Ravens. A Harbaugh helps a Harbaugh. This tells me that the Chargers are serious business contenders, and they're letting Jim do what he needs to do to build this organization. We're going to break that down. Taylor Swift has been planted to get Democrats votes in the upcoming election. Wow, what a joke if it is true. We're going to break that down. Rajon Rondo, NBA champion, arrested. Unfortunate situation. I love Rajon Rondo. Gutty, nutty, old school player. Was arrested right there in Smitty's backyard. And Hornets down 25 to the Knicks are partying on the sideline, having a jolly good time. And we wonder why I'm so harsh on Luka scoring 73. You think this is going to happen back in the day? I can't wait to debate Smitty all day long on this shit right here. These soft motherfuckers right here think we're going to stop somebody from scoring. We're going to break that down. Can't wait for it. We got a loaded lineup. And without further ado, though, before Doc Talk Jesse Morse comes in and starts this thing going, pound that like, subscribe, become a member. But speaking of Rajon Rondo arrested in Naptown in Indiana, we got a Naptown's finest. A hairline, LeBron James, AR-5 goggle wearing, Lamar Jackson enthusiast. Far East Side, Post Road, 317, Ball State legend, Fox Sports. Big time. We call him Big Smitty. Y'all call him Darnell Smith. We call him Big Smitty on this show. My great, famous co-host, Big Smitty. Welcome to me. Hey, you got a lot of comments yesterday on your hairline. They said it was kind of fucked up.
Well, I need a fresh haircut right now, number one. Number two, the camera don't really I don't know, your camera kind of weird. It don't really show how I look. I came to your house a couple weeks ago. You was like, you got a clean haircut. Because the more be clean, I be faded. But right now, I need my haircut bad. I ain't gonna lie. But the waves coming in, though. So, I ain't sure. When I grow my hair out, the waves start to come in. So, I'll probably get a haircut today or tomorrow. I'm married. I ain't impressing nobody. I'm chilling, bro. Wife ain't going nowhere. I got a nice crib, man. I'm cool, bro. I ain't got to impress nobody.
Super Bowl Sunday is going to be a pretty big deal here at the crib. We got some comedians coming to perform. I always do it pretty big, Smitty Super Bowl. We got wasn't like last year. Were you at last year's Super Bowl?
No, I wasn't. I didn't get invited.
Oh yeah, you weren't around. We didn't really talk. We don't talk still, but we'll have some bartenders in the lounge. We'll have some bartenders outside. It's supposed to be a decent day, nice day. We got taco truck. Big deal, Smitty. Topless dealer, topless bartender. So we do have some people's wives coming though. So it's gonna be, they have to know those things that are happening for all the folks. But it's good. It'll be cordial. It'll be good.
That'd be crazy as hell, man.
We got a little lineup today, dog. All week long. It's just back to back. We don't need a lot of topics on the show because we got so many legendary guys joining the show every day. I hit up Matt. I said, "Hey Matt, let's do tomorrow because today we're back to back. So Matt will come on tomorrow with us.
Okay.
So today we got Doc right out the gate. Michael Lombardi. Believe he goes on Pat's show right after ours. And then we got Steve Kim. I know Shakur, retired. I think it's Cap.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's Cap. But I know Steve got the insight.
He's really on it though. Steve's kind of like, dude, shit. And then we got to end the show, we got Tank Johnson, who said he has some words for you today, by the way.
For me?
He said he has to get something off his chest with Big Smitty. And then he said he wouldn't tell me he's got something in the chamber for me with Lamar. So
he coming to everybody, huh?
Yeah. Take him there. Well, shit, don't come up top rope. Then we fucked Tank up today on the show. Smitty and I would no pause, whatever. Fuck tag team, whatever.
It's gonna be a loaded show, man. Loaded lineup, man. I can't wait. I mean, I know we're gonna talk about this later, but you said Rondo got locked up in my city, in my town, in my state. Golly.
Yeah.
What's going on, man? We're going to dive into it. I don't want to
yes, heat on him and dumb. I don't know what he's doing.
As a black man, you cannot do that in Indiana. I'm tell you that right now.
Nah, yeah. We used to take some. Anyway, Indiana was a spot we used to go. All right, so 2.5 men because whoever comes on is the other, and then we carry the half. Smitty, you know what I mean?
Oh wow! I thought I was the 2 and that was the half, and okay. Wow, you flipped the whole script on me right there.
Smitty was nodding his head. He did not catch the joke at all until late. All right, let's get you to a quote of the day, Big Smitty. We gotta get quote of the day going on. It's an epic one. Quote of the day brought to you by betonline.ag. Head on over to BetOnline. Use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, and go bet you some NBA hoops. We got a couple weeks till Super Bowl. You got the Super Bowl. You got hockey. You got all this stuff. Bet online where the game starts. A journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step. Big Smitty. Yeah. Quote of the day. A journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step. Or just start your car up and go hit the gas. Contrary to belief, brought to you by Prize Picks. Head on over to Prize Picks, another proud sponsor of the Coach AB Show with Big Smitty. In a world where everyone speaks, it takes courage to be the one who truly listens, contrary to belief. Okay. And don't expect everyone to understand your journey, Big Smitty, especially if they've never walked your path, contrary to belief. Poll question. Drop your question down, Bob. Drop your answers down here in the bottom. Poll question. Or Teacher Pioneers, what up? Poll question. Is Lamar Jackson a top 5 quarterback in the NFL? That's the poll question. Drop it in below. Smitty, we'll start right here because
here you go.
We'll start with the poll question because in fairness to Lamar, in fairness to Big Smitty, in fairness to everybody, I think it's, again, I come on the show, I always harp on it. It's all about what have you done for me lately. Now, Purdy. So Ryan Clark has come out and bashed Purdy for the last few weeks, say he's a game manager, blah, 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 blah. Your guy, my guy, former player, Richard Sherman came at him like, man, Purdy's the guy, blah, blah, blah. They go back and forth. Today, Ryan Clark's on Get Up saying Purdy's now took us ahead now of Dak, Lamar. I'm like, come on. This cat has no consistency on that particular channel. But it's crazy how we just change like dirty draws. We change our minds like dirty draws, man. I keep it 100. Keep your same energy as y'all say. Why are you changing up now? Because they're in the game. They won.
Probably so.
Lamar lost. He's now below. Last week he was ahead. Dog, the shit kills me, man. Like, I don't think people really put it in context and understand that this thing changes day to day. And I can't do the wishy-washy shit. Like, let's keep it real. Just keep the same energy as y'all say. I'm I'm still going to probably take Lamar over Purdy if I picked a team, but I would pick that team with the defense that the Ravens have and run the football. I would pick a team, build it around the quarterback. I don't know if I could build a team around Purdy because I think eventually Purdy will show who he really is, which is an undersized guy who's not as athletic to help me win the games that's going to matter. Even though everyone's going to say, well, JB, he ran 4 times and kept them alive. Yes, he did. And guess what? No one's ever seen him run before, ever. He ran. Good job. But let's see him run again. Let's see him run this Super Bowl. Like, now it's on record. Let's see him run this time. Like, people always see one time, one day, one play, and then they say that the guy is now better than the other guy or he's worse than the other guy. And we change our minds like dirty draws. That's just something on this show we don't do. I don't like changing my mind. We're going to keep the same energy. And listen, Lamar choked again. I don't know if I want to use the word choke.
Thank you.
But he did choke.
Shit.
What did he do? Lamar's
he lost again. Just say he lost again.
Performance. Well, that's not just lost again. He has a track record in the playoffs, right? So, like, that's what people are going to look at. I'm not here to bash him. I'm just telling you, he has a track record. Everyone's going to look at his track record and say, okay, well, he choked, or that's the word they're going to use.
But wouldn't we say this, like, okay, he didn't make it to Super Bowl, but let's look at the big picture, though. He makes the AFC Championship game.
Let's get Doc in.
The Doc is here. Let's get the Doc in. Let's get the Doc in, man. Clean, all blue, got his crip on, tie. What's going on, Doc? How you doing?
Good. How are we?
What up, Doc?
Good.
We got a lot going on, Doc. Is Lamar a top 5 quarterback is our poll question right now. Is he a top 5 quarterback right now?
I'm not sure.
Doc thinking about it. He's not sold, Smitty. He's not sold.
He stayed healthy this year. The question becomes, is he a force to be reckoned with on the field? Yes. Does he do it non-traditionally? Yes. Did he have all the chances in the world and blow them? Yeah. Why wasn't he running the ball? Why did OBJ have 4 catches for 34 yards in 2 playoff games after they just paid him $16 million for the season? Why did he try to fit the ball in between 3 defenders? Why did Mark Andrews only have 2 catches?
Because he just got back.
Even hit his under.
He just got back.
I don't care.
He's been out all year. Doc, I love you, Doc. A guy who fucked his knee up is not about to come back and just get 10 catches like Kelsey did 100-something yards. That's just not realistic.
He didn't get the ball, though, Smitty.
He had 2 catches, bro. He broke his leg and his high ankle. He was surgically repaired, and he was cleared to return.
Clear don't mean I'm about to go out here and get 15 for 15. I've been injured before, and I didn't come back and just was myself. I'm sorry. That's just not realistic.
It's the guy that has to throw him the ball, though. It wasn't him. He can't throw himself the ball.
But
you got to be open, too.
Here's the problem. He has all offseason to heal now. What good are you healing now?
I hear you.
What,
but it's easy to say a guy don't have the catches, but, like, let's watch the full tape. Was Andrew just fucking wide open all game and he just was messed up? If he was, cool. Let's watch the tape and see.
Laporta was injured. Laporta came back and had 10 catches his first game back. Why is Laporta having those catches and he can't?
Compare everybody. I mean, you can compare this to that.
My point is, if you're gonna play him in the game, play him in the game.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Like the only one that even made a splash was Zay Flowers. Which is typically true. Yeah. And Zay Flowers unfortunately fumbled the ball. That was a good play on the DB. That was on him, but that was a good play, right? I mean, you just got to give it to him. That was a good play. And it was just unfortunate that he wasn't a foot farther, and that would have been a different situation.
Different situation. Exactly. Can we stop right there? So we are in agreement that was a freakish play. Shout out to the Chiefs. Amazing play. But I can't put that play on Lamar. So all I'm saying is that is it. 9 times out of 10, that's a touchdown. Like if we just take that's 9.9 times out of 10, that's a touchdown.
So
my point is, Lamar didn't have a great game. I came on the show and said he had like a C plus game, if that C game probably. But with all that being said, if Zay don't fumble this ball, we're having a whole nother conversation right now. I don't know what happens because that makes it 14-17, and I don't know how it happens.
So let me paint you the script, which is the truth, and tell me how this game should have went differently. The Chiefs scored all their points in the first half.
They did. And they came out hot.
The Ravens shut down the Chiefs in the second half.
Yeah.
You gave Lamar an entire 2 quarters to do whatever he wanted to come back and win the game.
Right.
And he couldn't do it.
The MVP, Doc, they say.
He couldn't do it. It's not they say. He is the MVP of the regular season. The playoffs have nothing to do with the MVP. That's the problem, too. We got to stop. We got to separate regular season and playoffs. It's 2 separate things. There's a Super Bowl MVP. There's a regular season MVP. Just because somebody did not win in the playoffs does not mean that takes away from what they did in the regular season. So
the problem was he wasn't playing like an MVP.
I agree. But
and he'll tell you that. And he'll tell you that.
I tell you that. But to say this, to hesitate about the top 5, come on, y'all. Right.
So here's my problem with him. Here's my problem with him. You need to design a perfect offense around him. He cannot. I mean,
Greg Roman.
He's not. He can't do what Patrick does. He can't do what Josh Allen does. He can't do what Jalen Hurts does.
Whoa.
There's no
Jalen Hurts. Nah.
Yeah.
All right, my fault. Continue.
So he can't do what Burrow does.
I agree with that.
So Lamar is special. There's no question about that. I mean, that's obvious. And when the defense gives him plenty of running lanes, he's a freaking nightmare, right? Obviously. But you blitz him, and Spags did that, and you make him win the game with throwing the ball, which a quarterback should do by definition, he can't do it. He can't do it. And that's the problem. That's what made Brady so lethal.
We got Michael Lombardi coming on, and we're interested to get his take with Smitty as well on the same thing. I don't know what to call it. Is it a choke job? Is it he's 2-4 in the playoffs? I do know though that he's had two coordinators now. One of them in Roman devised an offense around him where he was an MVP, a lot of success. The offense to me was a lot harder to game plan against with Roman than it is with Monken. But we wanted Roman out. It was all Roman's fault at the end of the day. And now on Twitter, it's Monken's fault. We protect Lamar very, very heavily in this media world. I'm just going to be honest. I want to know when it's Lamar's fault. And
it's his fault right now. I'm admitting this is his fault right now as the leader.
But I'm not going to ever blame just one person. But what I want to know is when is it going to be someone else's fault other than just the coach every single year? Like, it can't be the coach every year, Smitty, because guess what? Greg Roman took 2 teams to Super Bowls without Lamar Jackson. How many did he take with Lamar? 0.
Right.
I'm just saying. So I don't think people look at it that way. And Doc, we started this conversation out because of the Purdy debate. Like Ryan Clark now's changed up his tone. Now Purdy's jumped Lamar, according to Ryan Clark. Last week, Lamar was far ahead of Purdy. It's like dirty draws. We change them every day. And it's I can't go energy, there. Man. Like, I just don't get it.
I'll give Purdy his due, though. Purdy looked awful 2 weeks ago. Not awful. He didn't look the best 2 weeks ago, right? The weather obviously permitting, but that's the nature of the beast. But last week, I mean, he was up against Detroit blew that game. No question. That game was in Detroit.
Oh, the Green Bay.
Correct. That was also but Purdy did what he had to do to win. Yeah. Right? Whether he converted the first downs, there's a beautiful example right there. Whether he was throwing, the Ayuk play was, I'll call it, that was a great play. That was a great play right there. That dime, or how is it called, a dime? He grew a couple beautiful plays. Ayuk, didn't do a whole lot besides that crazy long play, right? He didn't even hit his over. And then Kittle was MIA. He didn't really do anything the whole game. And then Debo ended up being the game changer for them. Without Debo, I don't think they win this game. I mean,
I don't know. I think CMC controlled the line of scrimmage, even though
CMC was important. But if you look at when they needed to move the chains, CMC wasn't doing a whole lot behind the line. He only got 2.4, 2.8 yards per carry, whatever it was. It wasn't like he was breaking up 40-yard plays. Like he had one big play that landed on his head.
In that type of game, though, he had 40 yards at half. He ended up with, 80 as the first rusher to break 70 against the Lions' rush defense.
He had
two touchdowns. Those 2 touchdowns, though, controlled the tempo for Purdy to be able to do what he did. Because without that, remember, Purdy had 4 balls dropped that should have been interceptions. 4!
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And nobody talks about it. Everybody wants to praise Purdy. Guess what? The Lions DBs are ass. And if they would have caught the ball, this game's over a long time ago.
That game should have been over. I thought it was over at half. I really did. But that's why you play a full game. Unfortunately, I'll say this. If that DB catches the ball instead of it bouncing off his face mask, is that game over?
And the other one, the one that I think is more important is the one on the left sideline that Purdy threw, that the Lion guy dropped like a receiver. All he has to do is catch the ball. Like the DB skills in the Detroit are the worst I've ever seen. Like there ain't no Richard Shermans over there high tipping balls and shit. Like nobody high points the ball in the secondary for Detroit. Like I've never seen it like that. And nobody high points the ball on offense either with the 2 drop balls that cost them the game. So very interesting. I want to transition, Doc. Christian McCaffrey landed on his neck. I know you posted it right away.
This morning I posted it. It was a great photo.
And you posted it after the game, or right when the game happened. I saw.
I talked about
he's hurt, dude. I
and
saw
you could see him
it.
his neck worked on.
Yeah. And I saw when he landed, I go, there's no way he just bounce up from that and have no issue. I've had that happen, and I know what that does, Doc. A lot of cats don't know. It'll crack the lower part of your back, and you're like, oh, shit, what was that I felt? And I got to get out. And then you start getting some tingling in your thigh, and you're like, hold up. What do you think? Is he okay for the game? Is he going to play? Is he going to be light this week and next week in practice? I'm sure.
So the benefit of the Super Bowl is you have that extra week of rest. And so at this point, obviously, besides the Chiefs guy who tore his ACL, that great photo, right? I mean, that's a dope photo.
That's a great picture. Whoever got that, he looks like, you guys ever seen Stump the Yard? It's the black people know it's a dancing movie, and it's a movie they did just like that.
Somebody posted that on there, and that's what they were talking about. Yeah, there's like a thing where they hold their head.
You look just like that, yes.
Yeah. But this one obviously wasn't on purpose. So he came in with the calf 10 days ago, whatever. That's not 100%, but it's close. Now he gets this. He had that IT band issue. Remember, he was getting banged out last week on the not last week game, the week before, when they were working on his hip on the sideline. You might not have saw it. But that isn't a big deal. The good thing about the Super Bowl is that you have 2 weeks to heal. I mean, the only guy that I don't think is going to play is very unlikely to play is Thuney. Because they showed a picture of him celebrating after the game. It's his left pec, and you see all bruising right here. When you have bruising, that usually means it's a grade 2. Not always, but usually. The fact that they couldn't get him ready for this game and already made comments that they don't think he's going to be able to play in the Super Bowl, which is another 2 weeks away, that gives you almost 3 full weeks. That's not a grade 1. That's not a mild strain. That means you either partially tore it or pretty much full thickness tore it. And in that regard, you just, the problem with the pec is that it attaches to the bicep. So when you put your arm out, it's tight. So that's why a lot of guys, when they kind of clothesline someone, or it gets pulled and then it tears. But the other part of the problem is when he's trying to engage, he can't engage. That's the rate limiting factor. So that's why he's going to get burned, because whatever the left side, the guy just has to go up high enough. He's going to lose the strength, and then he's going to go by him. So he'll never. That's why he won't be able to do it quick enough. And a partial tear, think of a rope, and now you only have 50% of that rope trying to move 100% of that force, and the defender is going to be pushing that side because he's got a weakness there. There's no brace. There's nothing you can do to make that thing strong enough in that short period of time. Maybe a couple of things, but in traditional medicine, I'll say, I just don't think it's realistic, which is unfortunate, right? Because he was all pro, I think. His backup did a great job, so no question. Everyone else, Kittle has a toe injury. Debo has come back from that shoulder, didn't really have any issues. CMC will have that neck. The calf will be fine.
Pacheco has a specialized toe brace. Yep. Anything about him?
Yep. So Pacheco, he did a great job. He had turf toe and an ankle injury. So my suspicion, Kittle also has a turf toe because that's usually what they are. But turf toe is awful. They're very frustrating injuries. They're painful injuries. It's basically a bruise or a sprain of the joint of the big toe. And basically what happens is whenever you try to put your foot down, your toe, you think of your thumb, your toe wants to stabilize, but what happens is it kind of tears underneath the bottom of the big toe. Yeah. And when that happens, you can't push off, you can't explode. So, and the issue with cleats is that they flex, right? Yeah. By their nature. So you want a solid base. You don't want it to flex. So they put in usually a carbon fiber insert, which is exactly what it sounds like. So you cannot bend that shoe. It just doesn't bend anymore, which is great for stability. It doesn't allow it to heal any faster. It just kind of prevents it from, getting moving too much. That kid's a tough dude, so I don't really have much of a question whether or not he's going to play. And he had a pretty good game considering who he was facing. But he's banged up, so we'll see who else is banged up on that sideline. And then one of their DLs or whoever he was tore his ACL, unfortunately.
A Nadu or something, yeah.
Yeah, so that's obviously kind of a big deal. And we'll see who else, other injuries start to arise over the next couple of 3-4 days. But overall, I'm not overly worried. I think as much as you hate to admit it, Mahomes continues to defy. He needs one more playoff win, and he surpasses the great Peyton Manning for playoff wins, despite Peyton having 27 chances.
Yeah,
and Mahomes has had
14 and 13, and I think Mahomes is 14 and 3 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he's about to pass Montana too. The only one who wouldn't have passed is Brady. And Brady's got like 30-something, 30. I mean, you got a while for that, obviously.
Like I said, I don't like the Chiefs. Coach JB, he doesn't like the Chiefs. He's not a big Mahomes fan, but like at some point though, you just got to be real though. It's just what it is. Like you just got to take a step back. And like, damn, like what he's doing is impressive. I don't care if it's this era, last era, the next era. I don't care about the eras. This is just impressive to do.
He just keep winning. I mean, this is by far his weakest team yet.
Yeah.
Right. He has one decent, reliable receiver. And he's got Kelsey. I mean, he's got a really good running back, right? But I mean, in general,
great defense.
He doesn't have Tyreek, right? He doesn't have any these deep. MVS caught a beautiful pass, kind of turned around, caught it. Rice looked really good. Rice reminds me of Debo. Actually, he's kind of like a Debo-esque. Yeah. Very similar usage. Kelsey just balled out. Kelsey was the Kelsey that he needed him to be in order to, If Andrews was 50% of what Kelsey was in that game, I think there's a chance they win that game.
Right.
He wasn't. He was the shadow of himself. And in that regard, either he shouldn't have been active or you should have focused on likely more. Yeah. But you playing half and half and you didn't get anything. You got a whole 1 + 1 is 0.
Yeah.
You just and that's part of the problem. OBJ didn't do anything. I mean, he's just turned 31. He just made $16 million. He had one of his worst seasons in the past 5 years. Yes, you could say he helped lead the development of Zay Flowers, and you can give him that. But is that worth $16 million? I don't know. That's an expensive, mentorship. Yes, maybe they allowed him to get Lamar to sign. Maybe you could justify that. But in terms of sheer production on the field, I'm sure they're not happy with the actual production, but maybe that's on purpose, right? Maybe they're willing to bite that bullet to do all these other things. I had someone ask me yesterday, is J.K. Dobbins going to be fine for next season?
Oh, he probably does.
And I said, well, first of all, he tore his ACL, and then he came back and tore his Achilles on the other side. I'm like, you need a year before you potentially. And speaking of Achilles, you have Kirk Cousins. There was rumblings yesterday. He wants 2 years, and he's known for his guaranteed deals. Some of the stuff we never know if it's true, but 2 years, $90 million.
Guaranteed, 45 a year, guaranteed.
Correct. I mean, and when Kirk's on, he's a tough dude, and he's good at what he does. I think one of the things that will be interesting is two parts of it. One is if he gets that type of money and it's on the books, you're going to have a hell of a time filling out that roster around him. That's a lot of money.
And you know that Justin Jefferson's come out and said that he wants what? 150 for 6?
I haven't seen the specifics, but it wouldn't surprise me. And he deserves it. I mean, he had some fluky injuries this year, but he deserves it.
What about Mitchell for the Ravens? That back that's really explosive, who can run, who was a game-changing home run hitting back that they really lost, I thought, in the playoffs.
He was really good.
That was a big loss. He was very explosive. He had some injuries early in the season, so that kind of prevented him from really excelling early on. But he had explosiveness. What we've seen over the past 10, almost 15 years is running backs coming back from ACL reconstruction struggle in their first year. This year was an exception with Breece Hall, but more often than not, they fail. They do not do well in terms of like volume, in terms of being able to be as effective. They lose some burst. The second year, yes, they're doing better. So, I mean, if you think about the way the Ravens traditionally do things, he's not going to get a whole lot of volume anyway. He was getting, 9, 10 touches? Right. So it's like if you are, say, 33% less effective and you're only getting 10 touches, I mean, how much of a threat are you truly going to be? The only running back we've seen that's been decent, two, I guess, post Achilles is Justice Hill, his backfield mate, who's kind of under the radar in terms of effectiveness. At post Achilles, it kind of went under the radar, and then we saw Donta Foreman, but remember it took him 4 years before he came back and ended up being Derrick Henry's backup. Akers didn't do anything; he tore his other side. And then we saw Marlon Mack tore his other side, or the same one. I don't remember which one it was. So most of the time it's tough. And James Robinson hasn't done anything. So circling back to J.K. Dobbins, it's like you have a guy coming off of Achilles. You have another guy coming off of an ACL. Dalvin Cook probably not really relevant there. You have Gus Edwards, who's good, but I mean, he's not your explosive guy. So they're going to need to either draft someone or something as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out injury-wise for the Stars. I mean, and Justin Jefferson, people, and there you go right there. So is that as crazy as it sounds, I think that may be real, semi-realistic. I mean, the money's crazy nowadays, but
hey, Doc, transition before you get out of here. I want to transition to this. Kadarius Toney made an IG live, basically called just a ghetto ratchet, dumbass IG live right before they were in stretch lines, basically before a major game. Andy Reid's come out and basically called him a liar. If you haven't heard it,
but it did seem to be that he was saying he was not hurt. Can you expand upon what his situation is a little more, Coach?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously he's been on the injury report. So, I mean, I got that part as that's not made up by any means, but he's been working through some things and he'll be back out there.
He'll be back out there. He's been working through some things, tells me he's probably a shitbird and he's got issues.
So he came from Florida, right?
He was with the Giants, remember?
Yo, I remember, but you know what who this reminds me of a little bit?
AB?
In terms of who is that?
Antonio Brown?
No, I mean that's that too, but in terms of his ghetto-ness. If you listen to the audio, and I love hip hop, I'm a hip hop head. I've always been a hip hop head. It was like
Smitty
you're talking to
yesterday,
someone in Atlanta, like in the dirty.
But yeah, he's got that tone. Yeah,
but it reminded me of Aaron Hernandez. Also at UF, right? He had like this ghetto kind of like.
Yeah.
Just listen to the audio, and you're like, what is he saying? Like, I know what he's saying, but like, what?
So I got to ask you, what was, or do you know what the injury report was? Is he hurt? Was he hurt?
You just take a body part. Take a body part.
Oh,
At
really?
this point, I don't even know if they're just giving him body parts that are injured because he's a liability. Here's the thing that irritates me the most, believe it or not. He gonna get a ring. He gonna get a ring out of this.
Yeah, Chiefs gonna win for sure. I feel confident about that.
I mean, obviously they win, but my point is like, and it's just like, and all the talent in the world, or at least so we think, can't put it together. We see this every once in a while, right? When these guys are super talented, make tons of money, and they can't get out of their own way, right? They can't get out of their own way.
That's what it is.
So I want to bring one more thing up before I leave because I saw this the other day and it's worth a debate. How good was Sewell?
Penei Sewell?
How good was he in that game?
Yeah, overall. And overall in his career.
Two polarizing misses that he had in that game that were critical that I watch as a coach, and I know his whole family, and I've coached some of his family. He's a freak. He's great. I think he's the best right tackle in football. He missed twice on Bosa that were critical. One was a sack. The other one was a forced ball that cost Goff to miss a guy that I thought he should have set his ass down a little bit more and he wouldn't have got beat. But he's great. I think.
Yeah, I think overall he's been great.
Yeah.
So, and the reason why I mention this is because, was it 3-4 years ago, whenever he got drafted? The question for the Bengals, and there's a meme that goes around, was him or Lamar Chase, right? That's always been the debate.
Yep.
And I tweeted something the other day. I'm like, I'm going to die on this hill. I think they should still went with, as good as Chase has been, right? I mean, it's unbelievable. What good is your receiver being open if your quarterback is on his ass?
Yeah.
No, that's the debate, Doc. It is a good one. But the only argument is Burrow's been to the Super Bowl with Chase.
Yeah, that's the argument. Yeah.
But and you can also argue that he's had multiple injuries because he's the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, or at least one of the top three. I mean,
17. He was sacked 17 times between the AFC title game and the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could shore up one of the 4 or 5 positions that, or you're ideally your main, or at least 30% of the whatever it is, 30% of the stress or whatever the number is. If you could shore up that position, I understand you want an elite receiver, but it's not a pretty position to fill. But I promise you ask most GMs, they're going to prefer that right tackle that's reliable and that's elite over that elite wide receiver, because there may be a couple more elite wide receivers than there are elite tackles.
By far. Wide receivers are a dime a dozen. To be honest, you're drafting rookies now that are Najigma Smith. Every year there's a big time rookie receiver that's making an impact in the NFL where you didn't used to see it, Doc, because we used to be able to put hands on rookie receivers that weren't physically ready for the NFL. Now can't put hands on them, so they're free releasing. They don't get hit over the middle anymore. They're not getting knocked out. You're not putting the fear of God in little receivers like Zay Flowers anymore. So now they can play as rookies and thrive, get a big bag, and now they're walking on top of the earth thinking they're the shit because you can't put hands on them. So receivers are a dime a dozen. Tackles, not so much. You can't find those guys falling out the tree.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Like you saw a lot of elite rookies this year, right? Wide receivers. You know, Flowers was good. JSN was a little subpar. I think that was just because of his
Gino struggled too. Gino's hurt. They struggled.
You know, but I mean, there was a lot of it.
Even like
really
Josh Downs showed flashes for the Colts. You know, yes. I mean, there's a lot of young people.
And it'll be interesting to see. We see Shrine Bowl coming up. You know, the Senior Bowl is coming up. You know, so there's some monster talent wide receiver wise. There's probably 5 to 10 deep this year from what I've seen. Neighbors is a monster.
Yeah.
And then we know Marvin is a beast. But you know, there's a couple guys where he could be sneaky this year. Legette could be sneaky. Cowing.
Puka, look at Puka, what he did.
Yeah, I mean,
people look at him like a rookie. People think he's a 10-year vet.
Yeah, I mean, and Puka wasn't even in the
that guy. Yeah,
they
right.
Weren't even, you know, it's crazy. So that just goes to show you.
Doc, let's end it with a hell yeah, hell nah. Hell yeah, hell nah. Justin Herbert will be the NFL MVP next season. He has the talent. He's got a guy now. It's shit or get off the pot, Doc, for him. He's got to be the next Burrow, Josh Allen. He's got to get a conversation or he's that guy that's going to be a bust.
I'm going to go with hell nah, and I have 2 reasons. One of them is a gut reason. I can't really explain it. I don't feel like he has that it factor. And the other one is he has these issues to get these random injuries that he tries to play through, but impact him enough.
Toe.
Little stuff, yeah.
But it's enough to be like, that impacts this, that impacts that. And they're going to have a lot of turnover. I don't think they're going to pay Eckler. I don't think they're going to be able to afford Mike Williams. He's coming off an ACL. So
I would get rid of Mike Williams. He's just too hurt.
You know, so it's for what he's going to command financially in a presumed expected to be down year. It's pretty rare to have an elite year, first year back in ACL. Even Godwin had a pretty good year, and his wasn't really great per se. So it'll be interesting to see what do they do with that high draft pick. You know, and if you look at Harbaugh's numbers when he was in the NFL previously, and I know he had Kaepernick, so maybe a little bit skewed, but he was top 5 or bottom 5 in throwing for every season. So he was heavy running, meaning. But maybe that was game script. Maybe that whatever it was.
Yeah, this game's definitely different with Kaepernick there.
But in general, obviously he's going to utilize the weapons he has, right? But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I as much as I love Herbert and I think he has crazy talent, I do. And I'm curious. 2 more things. I'm curious to see what the Bears have lined up because I still don't know. I want to say that they're going for Williams, but at the same time, I want to say that they're keeping Fields. So I don't know which one it is.
I don't know either.
We had Walter's son on yesterday who covers the Bears, and he don't know.
So yeah, I mean they're keeping it close to vest, which is probably the right decision. And then I want you guys to just debate this because I think this was kind of funny. It popped up. I think it was yesterday. So overall, the wide receiving corps throughout the NFL were pretty good, but there was a couple subpar, namely the Ravens, right?
Yeah.
Would you hire the Ravens wide receiver coach as your offensive coordinator?
No.
Then why are the Saints interviewing him?
Because this is a who you know business and who knows you business, and there's about 5 head coaches. Look, I actually been around Canales since he was a little kid out here in California. He's never been a head coach ever. You just hired him in Carolina. Like this is who's hot. What have you done for me lately? Business, and then who do I know and who knows you, and then who calls Doc and says, "Hey Jesse, JB, he's been doing a lot of good work for me. I think he's a guy. Oh, I'll hire him." Just because your buddy told you. And it's crazy. It's a recyclable business. It's a good old boy business. And I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
It's interesting. All right, brother. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you.
See you guys.
Peace. All All right. We got a lot going on. Michael Lombardi joins us next. We got a lot to discuss with him. We're going to ask him some of the similar situations. Big Smitty, let's make it make sense.
Okay, let's get it.
Lamar is ooh.
Okay, get the new graphic. All right,
we gotta get Smitty back because I got make it make sense. I got a JB rant. When is Smitty? We gotta have a Smitty coming in the show. Like
everything is JB. You know, black man on show. You know what I mean?
I mean, we know it's a racist show and all that, but we gotta make sure we used to have your what we call it, Darnell's
dogs or something.
Dogs. We had that, but you just got lazy and quit doing it. And then
we switched the way we was doing things, and stuff got moved around, got thrown. You took over the rundown to make it more fitting.
Hey, y'all, did you hear how quick Settle he threw me under
I was doing that. We had more black segments on the show, and JB took over. And
Settle getting rid of those. Settle getting rid of those.
Now it's real, just
Smitty's in his feelings right now by Lamar Jackson, and I'm gonna help Smitty out because I'm gonna go against Purdy as much as I go against Lamar, just to keep it real, because I want to be an equal opportunist racist. RACCCISSSS. But I want to make it make sense real quick. Instead of choke, we'll call it the Lamar letdown. Lamar letdown. Lamar choke job. Make it make sense, Big Smitty. I just want to ask you, I want to make this make sense. Greg Roman has been to 2 Super Bowls, two without Lamar, but 0 with Lamar. Make it make sense. Lamar gets protected in today's media because we are scared to keep it real. He isn't an MVP. I want to ask you, what has he done that's MVP worthy? Please let me know. However, CMC has led his team to the Super Bowl. Compare the game they actually played together. Yes, the Ravens won, but CMC ran for 100. He scored twice. Lamar was really mid that game, but the Ravens won, so everything was brushed under the rug. But Lamar did really not a lot. CMC, you take him off the 49ers roster, the 49ers are not in this game. Let's keep it real. You take Lamar off that roster, Tyler Huntley is still in the playoffs, and that is facts. That is facts, Smitty. Don't tell me. I'm not telling you they make it to the AFC title game. I'm not saying they make it to the AFC title game. I'm saying they're in the playoffs. And if you don't believe it, they were in the playoffs last year with Huntley. What are we talking about? Lamar Jackson threw 24 touchdowns, and he's the MVP. Why? Smitty's mad at me. Listen, the facts of the matter is Tyler Huntley went to the playoffs, Smitty, last year. Don't act like I'm making it up. He went to the playoffs last year without Lamar. What are you talking about?
Hold on. So Lamar was out all year, and Tyler Huntley led the Ravens to the playoffs, correct?
Missing games.
I mean, missed the last couple games after they were already won. After he won them 9 fucking games, Tyler Huntley went out there and won
in 2 years.
Tyler Huntley won a handful of games to end the season. That's it. Why you're talking like Huntley went out there, played the entire season, went 12-4, 12-5.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, come on, bro. I
didn't say that.
Well, don't say if Lamar's not on that team. This is a whole nother team. That's come on, bro. I can't let you have that.
Tyler Huntley still takes this Ravens team to the playoffs. I didn't say they'd be a Super Bowl team. I said the team still goes to the playoffs.
Okay,
listen what I said.
The Niners been a Super Bowl without C-Mac. You do know that, right? When Jimmy G was there.
I said this team, CMC off this team, they're not in this game. That's what I said. I didn't say overall. I said that if you take CMC off of this team's not in the Super Bowl. You saw Purdy's performance. He got bailed out. He didn't take that team to the Super Bowl. CMC did. Lamar choked in the biggest game to go to the Super Bowl. There's a huge difference. It's a real comparison. Why are we always trying to get rid of the coordinator and not Lamar? I just want to be clear here. I just want to ask you, because Greg Roman went to 2 Super Bowls with 2 different quarterbacks. Not Lamar, though. But Smitty, we'll table it. We'll get into it because we got a legend on. Smitty got to recoup, and he's mad. He's hot right now, and I love it. He's going to come back fiery, and we got a great guy on, and Smitty could ask him these same questions because this guy's been a GM in organizations, unbelievable NFL legend. Clap it up for Mr. Michael Lombardi. Clap it up.
What's up, guys? How we doing, gentlemen? Smitty, I'm just coming to the rescue. I'm coming to your rescue. Yeah, I'm not going to buy his crap about Lamar. I'm just not buying that. Look, I think this, Lamar is a unique player, which requires a unique skill around him. If you watch the All-22, it's hard to figure out what that scheme was this weekend. I think Lamar, and I've said this for 5 years, I think he belongs under center. I think the illusion of him being in shotgun all the time it takes away the greatest strength, which is his ability to run. The only play in football that the quarterback blocks somebody is bootlegs and nakeds. And so when you have Lamar and you run the outside zone and he has to pivot out to go to the other side, somebody's coming with his ass every time.
Hold the backside in, right?
Every time. They're going to do it every time. And to me, I just feel like, and I thought Monken was moving closer towards having that, but I don't know what happened to that game plan. I have no idea. They're in empty, they're in spread. They can't block the overload pressures. The receivers aren't open. They run power 2 consecutive plays, once from unbalanced, once from regular. They get 15 yards on each one, never run power again. Like, I don't know what actually happened in the game to say that this was all on Lamar. And
let me ask you.
I'm not defending he didn't play well. But the reason Roman got fired was because they had no drop-back pass game. Once they got behind in a game, they couldn't come from behind. Now, that's what they tried to fix. But this game, I think they panicked. And I said this on my podcast. The Ravens are really like Biff in Back to the Future. They're fake tough guys. That's who they were. They were pretending they're all tough, trying to get into confrontation with the Chiefs before the game. Kelsey baited them on every single play. He knew they weren't tough. So I think this was a group loss more than it was just on Lamar.
Yeah, I agree. I want to ask you this, though, because I agree. But Roman's been to 2 Super Bowls with 2 Qs. One of them 0 with Lamar, but yet we wanted him out. Now on Twitter and all the Twitter gurus, they want Monken out. I just want to know, when is it Lamar's time to actually step up and do it? And I agree with you. You can't do it if the play calling is just horrific like it was. But I think Monken was like, oh, I got the guy who's the MVP. I'm going to, dick measure this thing, and I'm going to say he can throw for throw with Mahomes here. Let's show what he can do from the pocket. Like, why was he throwing in the pocket so much? That's not Lamar's game. No. And to your point, Mike, I wanted to bring this up and get your thought. My good friend is Garrett McGee, who coached Lamar, recruited Lamar and AR5. He recruited and coached both, one at Florida, one at Louisville. And he's going to come on next week, but he's now at Louisville with Brom. He said, why was he in the gun so much? Why were we under center with Petrino so much in Louisville? And they can't figure that out in the NFL because he didn't have these deficiencies at Louisville with us. But he shows them up. It shows glaringly in the NFL. Like, why aren't they looking at Louisville film and say, hey, this guy was really efficient throwing the rock, quick game, things to help him out. They don't run any quick game, Mike. They're running shit vertical with guys that they have one receiver, Zay Flowers, that could take the top off.
It's funny, Garrett, my son was at Louisville the same time Garrett was there. I watched every Lamar game because my son was the tight end coach there. And so I started with Lamar, watching Lamar when he really wasn't ready to play. And I would say to my son, Matthew, just play the other kid. You'll have a better chance at winning. And then they got to the Music City Bowl in Nashville, and they played A&M in that game. And Lamar had this coming out game, right? And
then he started to hurt or something, didn't he?
Yeah, and then the next year he wins the Heisman. And he was under center a lot. Like, they ran a pro style under center offense. And I've been saying it on my show, on my pod, for as long as Lamar's been in the league. He's an inside the numbers thrower out of under center. Now that doesn't mean he can't be in shotgun, but the reality of it is you've got to be able to separate the defense, and you got to understand play action separates the defense. And there was no separation. They didn't really the first two plays of the game. First play of the game, they tried to run the ball. They were in an 8-man front. They couldn't get the edge, and they almost like they said, "Okay, they're going to play that front. We give up." And I thought they panicked. I really did. I thought the entire team panicked. And let's be clear, Harbaugh's what? I think he's 2-6 since the Super Bowl in the playoffs.
Him and Tomlin have the same record, Mike, and that's what people don't understand. I'm like, we got to start being honest.
But it's not about their coaching. It's about how they want to play in the playoffs, right? It's a different game. And you might have to lose a game during the season to get your team ready for the playoffs, right? And, and I know it's important to have home field, all that crap, but you got to be able to say, here's the obstacle ahead of us, and we got to defeat that obstacle. And we can't defeat that obstacle on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday practices before we play them. We got to build that up during the season. And I think that's the biggest concern I have. I mean, look, they gave up basically, their defense gave up 20 points in 2 games in the playoffs, and they're home.
Crazy.
And my thing is, like, they shut out the Chiefs second half. Like, Mahomes made a couple big throws, but really, to be honest, he was dinking and dunking like they do with Andy Reid. Shutout second half, Mike. Shutout. And Lamar couldn't muster a touchdown. And we get Smitty broke down the Zay Flowers fumble and all that. But, like, that's not all on Lamar either. I'm not saying that. But that scheme and Harbaugh and Monken has to figure out, we got 30 minutes to score a touchdown, and we couldn't muster that.
Well, they panicked. I mean, they got away from the run. They really didn't give them an answer, and some of it's on, like, this is not just about Monken. Monken got schooled. He got taken to class. Let's be clear here. He went from Georgia to the NFL to Steve Spagnuolo in a playoff game and acted like they didn't expect Spagnuolo to blitz when everybody knows, including my dog, that he's going to blitz, right? He's coming with everything he has. And he took the game plan from Houston and he expanded it into what he could do. And where he won was on the outside. His corners proved to be better than the Ravens receivers other than Zay Flowers. That's where he won. And there was really no adjustment to that. There were no stacks. There were no tight four. Everything got spread and it became easy for him to cover. Hell, the sack that they give up, the Ronnie Stanley just stops on the play, and he gets the strip sack. There's nobody open on that play. There's no one open on that play to throw the football to. So, look, I think if you're John Harbaugh, you got to sit back and say, okay, what do I have to do to get my team playoff ready as opposed to being a really good regular season team?
Yeah, agreed. And one thing I will say, I guess go against Lamar in some way, I did feel like even some of the best plays he's had throughout the year is the times he's ran when it wasn't a design run. It was a pass play, no one's open, he finds the lane and he goes. I feel like he kind of stayed away from that this game. I feel like there were opportunities and moments where Lamar could have just been Lamar and just taken off. And I almost feel like he was in his own head and he just felt like, I can't just run because I don't know if the media, we know the media and we all have said, Lamar, you can't win a game playing this style. You have to throw the ball. I almost wondered, had that got in Lamar's head at all? Because I thought there were opportunities where he could have ran the ball and gotten first downs when no one was open. And he just stayed in the pocket and tried to force throws that weren't there.
Yeah. I think what Steve did was rush 5, right? And he covered up all the gaps and he built that umbrella rush, which is what you got to do against these guys. Nobody talks about it, but the only way to stop good quarterbacks isn't through coverage; it's through rush. How do you rush the quarterback?
Rush lane.
How do you keep them in a condensed umbrella? And we've seen it. And I think they did that to Purdy. I mean, give Aaron Glenn a ton of credit early in the game. He closed that pocket in. There was nowhere to go. That's what makes the Campbell decision to go for it. He'd have a 17-point lead and a defense. He would have forced Kyle into a drop back pass game, which Kyle doesn't want to be involved in at all. Kyle's drop back pass sheet is small, but he kept him in the game and he got back into it. I think they did a good job of that. And when they do it early enough in the game, the quarterback then says, okay, I can't take off. I can't really run it. And
Right.
They did a really good job of closing down his lanes. It was Brendan Daly, Joe Cullen, Steve Spagnuolo, those guys did a really good job of game planning that rush, and everybody was coordinated, and their communication was outstanding.
Eric Weddle comes on all the time. He was with Lamar as a rookie there in Baltimore before he went back to the Rams. But he was like, listen, or Chargers. He said that Spagnuolo may be the best big game DC he's been around. Especially he was the guy on that 18-0 Patriots team, with the Giants, obviously. He does things like with what he did with Lamar the other day, showing all that stuff at the box, basically telling Lamar, hey, let's go ahead and check into a run with a heavy box. So guess what? They threw the ball more than you probably would see Monken throw the ball, but then they disguised it, dropped out of there, and it gave him a false read. He's sitting there holding his dick, and now he's stuck. And you saw that with him in that game. He struggled to know who's hot, who's not, who's sight adjust, who's not. And I thought that was critical. But correct me if I'm wrong, at the NFL level, like at the college level, we're like, hey, listen, we play press man when our corners are better than the Q. So not necessarily better than the receivers, but saying, go ahead, quarterback, drop these balls in here against press man. Is that different there? Weren't they saying that about Lamar? Like, go ahead and make us an accurate throw. I don't think you can.
I think what they were saying was we want them to throw the ball outside the numbers. And if you go back to Louisville and ask Garrett this question, they would start most every game at Louisville with some form of play action post concept. And Petrino would tell Lamar to put the ball on the receiver's helmet, and he could do it. But Lamar, quarterbacks are a lot like shooters in basketball, right? There's certain places on the court you want to shoot the ball from, right? And they're deadly from there. When they're not so good from somewhere else. Lamar is an inside the numbers thrower. That's where he's very accurate. The first drop by Aguilar was a perfect throw, right? That was right on the button. But when you look at Lamar's throw sheet over 5 years, outside the numbers vertical, that's not what he's good at doing. He's just not. Brady wasn't always good at doing that either. Brady was better. Everybody talks about Al Davis wanted to run 9 routes. No, Al Davis wanted to run over routes because he wanted the quarterback to let the receiver catch the ball with his feet. Where the receiver could run to it like a center fielder and chase the ball in the alley. Whereas this guy, Lamar, that's what he needs to run. It's over concepts. It's all that stuff. And I think to me, Steve said, screw it. We're going to make you throw the ball outside the numbers. It's the same thing. When we used to play at New England, we would play the Jets with Rex Ryan. He packed the middle of the field. He wanted Brady to throw the ball outside the numbers, right? He wanted to Brady, you throw it outside the numbers, see if you can win. And eventually you could. You got to adjust your team to how the best coaches play you, right? And then you got to adjust your game plan. How do I get inside when they're trying to pack the middle?
No question. No question.
Let me ask you this real quick, because I know Coach JB, he asked before you joined, he asked this question. Is Lamar Jackson the top 5 quarterback in the NFL today?
I think he is. I think his skill set is such that, look, Lamar and Josh are very similar. Josh Allen. Do you consider Josh that? Josh leads the league in interceptions and fumbles since 2018 for any quarterback. So he turns it over, but he makes a lot of plays. I think, one thing I learned about watching the NBA, and I'm unfortunately a demented 76er fan, but when I would watch Allen Iverson, he might be 9 for 30 from the floor, but he'd make 2 plays that win the game. I think Lamar's kind of got that quality. He forces the pass rush to play differently. He forces you to stay out of 2 deep man under. There's things that you can't do against him. And I just don't think they've matched the system to the player. If I told you before the game that Andy Reid was going to call 32 runs and Todd Monken was going to call 16, you would have said I was crazy. And yet that's the way it was. Look, the difference between the 2 teams is Andy Reid after Christmas Day said, okay, we're done with this crap. We're not holding the ball anymore. We're going back to old school West Coast. We're going to dink and dunk. I've gone through every drive chart over the last 3 games, and they've got 10 plays, 16 plays, 8 plays, 9 plays. They don't make explosive plays. They dink, they dunk, and they tell Mahomes, protect the ball. The scheme will get guys open. Just throw it to the right guy. And that's how they've gotten their offense. Now, they haven't scored. They've scored 27, 25, 26, and 17 over that period, right? They haven't scored a lot of points. They haven't been explosive, but they've been very effective. And Mahomes hasn't turned the ball over. So what he's done is Andy's done is married the scheme to his defense and let his defense help him win the games. And that's what coaching is.
Yeah. Is this Andy's best job ever?
Yeah. Well, I think it is because, you know, he's willing to, you know, by nature, he doesn't want to call a run. He hates calling runs. He don't want to be in 13 personnel by nature. He wants to dial up all sorts of different things. But, you know, his aggressiveness, his willingness to say to trust Mahomes, and his ability to play complementary football with his offense is really good. And control the clock, control the time of possession. And this Pacheco kid, I mean, look, he's a hard-ass runner. You know, when he runs downhill, he's from right up the road here in Vineland, New Jersey. I mean, this kid's an angry runner. And now they start to spread him out and empty. He catches the ball. This is going to grow continually. And so what he's doing is he's saying, look, my strength is Pacheco, Kelsey, and Rice, and a great quarterback. I'm using those three players. I'm using that.
No doubt. I agree. Let me ask you this real quick. I got to ask you this because you have inside information on this stuff. Like, to me, the timing of these interviews on these assistant coaches that are in playoff runs, especially deep ones, seems a bit unprofessional, I guess, is my word. But it's been happening since you've been in the league. Why can't we figure out to change that? I don't understand why we're interviewing guys that are in AFC, NFC title games. We saw it last year with the Eagles. Came out later that this guy was interviewing for the Cardinals head job and gave a lackluster scouting breakdown for the Chiefs game. And you saw Andy absolutely just dissect that defense in the Super Bowl. McDonald interviewed the day after the Ravens lose to the Chiefs. We've seen it over and over and over. Ben Johnson interviewed during the week of prep against the Niners. Isn't there a way we can do it after it's over? It's not like college where we got to go get on the road to recruit. There's scouting services. You got scouting guys already in the buildings, right? Like, can't they wait?
The problem is the assistant coaches. That's the problem. If you wait too long, you don't get the best assistant coach. It's hard to do that. And I think the preliminary interviews are for guys that are in the playoffs are more of get to know each other. I don't think, Mike McDonald went in there and told Washington a breakdown of everything. I think it was, Mike, who are you and what do you believe in? And that's something you work on in the summer. That's a notebook you have that you've been kind of filling up as you go along. Yeah. And you just go and present itself. That should come off the top of your head. That shouldn't be something that you got to research, because you should be able to, but your focus is on that team. So, now I'm sure that now that he had an interview with Washington, they're going to, I think Seattle's going to come talk to him. I mean, it's going to be, hey, here's what I believe in, and here's who I can hire. That's the big thing here. It's not about I want Mike McDonald or I want Mike Kafka or I want Dan Quinn. It's about who do I get when I get you. That's a key thing.
No question. I got to ask you will Bill or Pete coach again?
I don't know. I can't speak for Pete. I think Bill will. I think both of them have great energy. Both of them still work really hard. I think to me, it's kind of sad that the older you get in our profession, people think the less you know when experience really matters. I put a tweet out. We wrote something on the Daily Coach. Bill Walsh said, I'm a better coach at 52 than I was at 42. And I thought I knew everything at 32. So, a lot of these young head coaches that are getting, Dave Canales is walking into a huge job. Who's helping him? Who's going to help him? Is Dan Morgan going to help him? Dan Morgan's going to have a hard time holding on to his job, let alone helping Canales with his job. So there's a lot of that going on in the league. I can't imagine that somebody with his experience and his ability to teach and lead, I find it hard to believe. But the NFL is not the best and the brightest. It's about who's going to come in and not threaten my territory. I mean, if you're Terry Fontenot and you're going to keep your job and you have a chance to hire Bill Belichick, and I think Raheem Morris did a wonderful job. I'm not disputing this. But wouldn't you want the best of the best?
Yeah, I don't get that hire either. I like him too, but I'm like, he's 21-38 as a head coach. I think you take the guy with 6 rings, right?
Well, but that guy with 6 rings threatens your desk. He threatens your desk. He threatens your ability to do what you want to be able to do. So you're putting yourself over the best interest of the program. And you've got the Twitter idiots that'll back you up when they post all those things about Brady and you can't win without Brady. Let's just be clear. The only time Brady in his entire career lost 10 games was his last year at Tampa Bay.
I know, and they've had those low-scoring Super Bowls where it wasn't like Brady.
That was all Brady. He designed a game plan. He did everything. He did it all. I mean, he made everything happen. So,
Let me ask you this, because I'm glad we're bringing this up. So there's a lot of people, media, the people I talk to, I'll be honest, even my head has kind of went back and forth on, who was the reason or whatever, right? So there's a lot of people who say that Bill Belichick is the greatest defensive mind of all time. But now they feel like because of the evidence we have of his record without Brady, either pre or after or post Brady, that now people don't feel like he's the greatest head coach of all time. What do you say to those people who say he's the greatest defensive mind, but not the greatest head coach?
I think they don't understand anything about football. I mean, that win on Sunday by the Chiefs, did Mahomes play at elite? I mean, Mahomes is really good, but that was a team win. That was a defensive team win. Mahomes executed the plan perfectly, and he did exactly. Football requires a team win. Brady's first Super Bowl was 143 yards passing, 142 yards rushing, and they stopped the greatest show on turf. It takes all three elements to work together. I find that really hard to believe. They won 11 games with Matt Castle. I mean, nobody seems to want to remember that year.
I always say
nobody remembers. Everybody forgets about that because you got all these people on Twitter that think they have all the answers. Look, it's a hard sport to win without a quarterback. There's no mistake in that. And had they had any quarterbacking play this year, they would have won 7 or 8 games. They had probably the worst quarterbacking play, with the blame being laid at his feet for trusting Mac and trusting the offensive staff and all that. So I'm not trying to absolve that. But to me, I think it's a little short-sighted when you just quote, well, this coach with that. I mean, look, it's not an easy sport to win in, and it requires a lot of everything has to be aligned perfectly, or else Warren Moon would have 20 Super Bowls, if that were the case. I mean, the Houston Oilers are the greatest team that I've ever scouted or seen, and they didn't even they got the one conference championship game. I mean, so it's like, it's ridiculous. And they had a quarterback in Hall of Fame. If Belichick coached that team, they might have won 8 Super Bowls.
Yeah, I love it. We say it all the time. Jimmy Johnson would have stayed in Dallas. Who knows what Aikman and them get? I was like, shoot, I thought they would have got a lot more. Segue real quick before you get out of here. I got to ask you about the Chargers hire. You like it or you love it, Harbaugh?
Well, I love it because, look, I'm a big believer in team culture, physical and mental toughness, something that last guru didn't even think. I mean, these guys that just basically look at the analytical sheet, one guy doesn't even think momentum exists in the league. Can you imagine that? He wrote a column that says there's not such thing as momentum. I mean, and Staley, who thinks he did a really good job on defense, did he watch his defense? Did he watch it? Did they ever get higher than 20th overall? So I think what Jim brings to the Chargers is toughness, a culture, mental and physical. He'll be really good for the quarterback. They'll have balance. The team will win close games. They could never win a close game because they didn't have mental or physical toughness to win it. When it got hard, they retreated.
Let me ask you this. This is great topic. I fully believe you have to have full autonomy if you're going to be successful in coaching. High school, college, NFL, of course. Belichick's had it. Pete Carroll's had it. Guys that have won. I think McVay has it for the most part with Snead. But at least he has autonomy on who we like, who we're going to go after. And I know you know this better than anybody. Harbaugh, they hired his brother's guy out of Baltimore to be the new GM. And I think they did it the right way. Am I wrong? By hiring John, they hired Jim first and then go out and get the GM. So that tells me something that at least the Spanoses are saying, okay, we're not only going to break the bank, we're going to give you full autonomy because you know what the hell you're doing, and we're going to let you do it. And that starts with having full autonomy and say. Am I wrong with that? Are the Spanoses finally going to do it right? Because your son's in there. You know the shit show it's been.
The 2 teams that are in the Super Bowl have full autonomy. I mean, I know, John Lynch is the general manager and he does interviews and all that. Nothing happens in that building unless Kyle says it happens. Nothing happens in Kansas City. I think Brett Veach does a great job, but his job is to serve the coach. What I think the Chargers did is the right thing. Hire the coach and then let him pick the guy that he feels most comfortable working with. Everybody confuses this with whoever I pick is just going to say yes. No, it's not going to say yes. We're going to have a mutual respect to then be able to have a conversation. That's the key. You don't always have to agree. You have to have mutual respect and see the game the same way philosophically. That's the problem. Most people think you're just going to rubber stamp it. Now, some people in some places, and there's a lot of them that have the title of GM, and they'll just rubber stamp whatever the coach wants to do. I mean, that's just a fact, because that saves their job. Then they can blame the coach later for any mistake that happened. I think it's a good hire. I think the Chargers got it right.
I agree. Vrabel, why is Vrabel why is he kind of a sitting duck, lame duck? I mean, is he kind of his record, or what's up with him?
I have no idea. I mean, the guy is one of the best coaches in the league. He holds players accountable. You know, I don't understand it. Again, guard your desk, right? It's about, if I bring Vrabel in, you know, am I safe? Like, how do you not even interview Vrabel? Like, how do you not even interview? How do you not even have a conversation with them? How are you?
Well, Mike, are we not in the player empowerment time and era? Like, this is player empowerment.
No. Well, we are by social media, but the actual results of who wins and who loses has nothing to do with it. The 4 teams in the Final Four, were their organizations player empowerment?
No.
No, of course not. So the only teams you really study are the teams that are in the Final Four. Those are the teams that reach the highest level of the league. You know, if you want player empowerment, if everybody wants to go to Dairy Queen after the game and we'll sing Kumbaya, that's great. You might win 8 games one year. You might win 9, you know, and you'll get the sundae with the cherry on it at Dairy Queen, but you ain't winning anything.
But isn't that what we're seeing roaming the sidelines with the Mike McDaniels and those type of guys? That's why, you know, Fangio's out of there. He wasn't a rah-rah guy. You and I both know that's
I don't think it's so much about rah-rah. I think it's about accountability, and it's about how the game should go. You know, I said this when Vic went there, that I would be really surprised if Vic and Mike would be able to see the game philosophically the same way. And people say, well, that's just old school. It's not old school. What wins today won 30 years ago. What's going to win 30 years from now is the same thing. It's not going to change. Accountability, mental and physical toughness, discipline, fundamentals and techniques. Those things don't change. You can't not practice. Look at the Eagles. You could tell they didn't practice half the year. Look at their defense. It kept getting worse. They didn't practice. If
Great
you want to be a champion,
at the end, right? They don't get worse.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be a champion, you got to work like a champion. You just can't show up and say, "Okay, here we go."
Yeah, I don't get it. It ain't ever changing, Mike. I don't get what these youngsters see. Why it's so different. I'm like, man.
Well, remember, it's the 1-9-90 rule. You know, it goes back to that. Only really, you know, when you go on social media, 90% of the people are reading it, 9% contribute, and really 1% is really the voice. So you're listening to 1% of the voice who have no idea when somebody writes a column that momentum doesn't exist in sports, they've never played sports before. They've never played sports. That's why when you go for it and don't get it on 4th down, you're not understanding that you could pass along momentum to them. Every game, there's a chance for you to break the other team's back and for the other team to get back into the game.
And I saw you going on Pat, and I know you talk about this there, and we all love seeing, you know, MCDC. But as a former player that's been in those type of games as Dan has, I was shocked in that game. Eric Weddle was shocked yesterday on the show. He's like, you know, he's pissed off because he threw his damn thing on the show. He was like, man, you got to give your players the opportunity. I used to console with all my guys on a fake PAT, fake punt, kick, you know, at least get a heartbeat of what's going on. And do you agree, disagree with Dan's decisions? I just go up 17.
I think the problem with Dan is when he left the field at halftime and he interviewed with, I don't know, Aaron or Tom Rinaldi, I'm not sure who it was with, he kind of was regretting his decision. And so what he said he said, it was a little too far. I didn't want to go for it. When in Dallas, they moved the ball from the 2 to the 7, and he still went for it. Yep. So I don't understand how distance became in that decision. That bothered me. But I could tell, I said to myself, and I wrote in my notebook, he's going to go for it on every 4th down after this. He wants to make sure that the analytical people know he's aggressive. And there's a fine line between aggressive and being stupid, right? There's that fine line that you got to be able to balance. And so, I think it's like gambling, right? If you have this, they call it the Monte Carlo syndrome. If you go to, and what happened was people were in Monte Carlo and they were at a roulette table and it came up black 10 times in a row. So everybody came over to the table and started betting red. Well, 30 more times it was black. Right. And so they lost all their money and the house was like going to win everything because you're counting on it to change just by what you do. Your decision is based on it has to change. Right. And that's kind of how Campbell just, what people don't realize, he's 50% over 3 years on fourth down. Like it's no lock that he gets it. And what adds another layer to the issue is he has a quarterback that can't move.
Right.
Once the play breaks down or once he has to move a little bit right or left, Goff becomes a different player. The Reynolds throw should have been caught, but it wasn't a great throw, right? Because he had to move a little bit. So your team has a quarterback that can't make a play with his feet, like Mahomes. You go for it with Mahomes on fourth down. There's a good chance he's going to scramble for a first down, right?
Yeah, that's a good point,
Mike. I gotta say the play that they went in empty and they motion Gibbs to the backfield and they motion him back out puts Goff in empty. Steve Wilkes is sitting there like our auto check to empty with Jared Goff back there is drop zone, fire zone, whatever it may be. I got the film that we're going to break down later, and I'm like, he's not a runner. He's not Lamar. He's not Hurts. He's not these. Yeah. We're going to zone drop this thing, and that's exactly what they did in empty versus him on that fourth down. And not this play, but the one that he just throws it short of St. Brown. And I'm like, that's an easy auto check. Kick the field goal. I just kind of was pissed off as a former coach and player saying, hey, man, I'm going to give my guys an opportunity to go to overtime or if not, just win it outright with the 2 field goals. And Weddle thought the same thing. I just thought it was interesting to as a former player to have that. He has obviously the locker room's attention. They love him. They'll run through a wall for him. But I think Goff at the end protected him by saying we love it and all that. They
all said that about Staley too. And the cumulative effect of those decisions wear on you.
Yeah, and as a player too, I'll admit, during my time as a player in college, I would like moments when my coach would be aggressive and go for it because it kind of showed me as a player that he believes in us. He believes in us, but those are specific moments. And I just feel like the moments that he chose to go for this past weekend just didn't make sense, especially the second fourth down. I think it was 27-24, like 7 minutes.
Yeah, had a chance to kick a field goal there
to tie it up.
What we don't know is if the special teams coach told him Bagley couldn't kick that. Now he's 3 for 3 inside of 40 all year, but that was in Detroit in perfect conditions. I don't know if they felt in pregame if that was the case, but I mean, to me, you get a chance to give your team to tie because one thing. Here's what you do know: if you miss the kick, there's a pretty good chance San Francisco is going to score. If you get the first down, there's a pretty good chance you might score, but there's also a chance you might not. And so you got to weigh that all in. Like I was not as down on the 48-yard not taking that field goal. I could understand his logic there. The one that blew me away was when he could have extended the lead to 17 points with 7 minutes to go in the game. That's the one that got me and then he gave them momentum going forward. The 48-yarder, I didn't know if the guy was going to make it or not. I mean, if that would have been Tucker, you send a kicker out there, no problem, right? And then the decision no one talks about, the one that put him in checkmate, that shows that he really wasn't thinking, is when he called timeout because that was the game. And, allowing them to call a run and you're on the headset. I mean, to me, third down pass, second down pass, we don't get it. Okay, Ben, we got to throw the ball in the end zone. No one calls timeout. We're going to throw the ball in the end zone. We got to save our timeouts. If we don't get it, we'll kick the field goal. We're going to go down. And then we don't have to onside kick. Then we don't have to onside kick. We can pin them back and see what they're going to do. But I think, to me, that was the biggest mistake.
No doubt. Always love to have you inside, Mike. I appreciate you. Love watching you on McAfee.
All right, JB. Thanks, Smitty.
Love you
guys. Good luck. Smitty, don't take any crap now. Keep fighting back.
Yes, sir, I will. Thank you for the help. Appreciate you.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
Later.
Hey, I'm good now, JB. Hey, I know we got Steve coming in, but I feel good, JB. I had a legend back me up, so I ain't got to say nothing else no more. How you doing, Steve?
Morning. What's up?
Michael Lombardi was completely wrong on that. I'm right. So what's going on, Steve?
He got three Super Bowl rings, JB.
Hey, I love his take on Belichick, though. Goddamn.
I mean, I guess, but has Mike looked at that offensive? I love Mike, but has he looked at that offensive roster? That's Belichick. His defense is good, but when you cannot draft a wide receiver to save your life, and you are player personnel, you're the GM, and you sign the dotted line, and you give Matt Patricia as your offensive coordinator to a young quarterback.
Hey, Steve,
I get it, and I think Belichick's great, but fuck, man. I mean, let's not be like, and I don't mean you, Darnell. Let's not be like Lamar Jackson's fans. It's never his fault. Yeah. Well, we have to be fair. Bill, you fucked up half the roster, bro.
Hey, Steve,
the least explosive, methodical, boring, unpredictable offense.
But he did mention, though, he tried to get rid of Mac, and they wouldn't let him. And I mentioned it before as well. Like, he tried to make a move. He tried to get Flacco.
Right, but
they wouldn't let him.
Draft Mac, and he made the playoffs. And then look at that wide receiver roster. It's the worst in the league by far. That's on Bill. He's the GM. We have to be honest about this. This is the greatness of me. I'm consistent to a point where people are uncomfortable with this shit. But I think Bill's on the Mount Rushmore. As a GM, it's been bad on offense. That's all I'm saying. You could bring him back on. I'd argue. I said, Bill, let's go through this roster wide receiver. Jag, less than Jag. He should be cut. That is the New England skill position, basically.
Hey, he did say it was the worst quarterback room, though. So he agreed to that.
Then again, who brought the quarterback room in? Who's the one who wanted to boot Brady? It wasn't Robert Kraft.
But we're talking about all time, like he said, he did win 11 games with Castle.
That's right. Yeah. And Matt Castle ended up making some money. And Matt, look, I am not a guy that thinks Bill Belichick was propped up by one player.
Right.
But we have to be honest. The last 7 to 8 years, when you look at his draft choices on that side of the ball, there's way too many N'Keal Harrys. I'm just telling you, chart it.
Yeah. All right, let's get into one of your wheelhouses here, one of your many wheelhouses. Steve knows everything about everything, and that's a rarity in today's world. Shakir, did he really retire? Ooh. I think it's cap.
Oh, God. He'll be back by Thursday.
Okay, thank you. So you agree. Okay. So what's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on? Yeah, Smitty.
Well, because I guess Top Rank in the WBO, they every promoter has their own sanctioning body they work in cahoots with. They're going to make a fight for the vacant WBO lightweight title between Emmanuel Navarrete and Dennis Baranchik. And I guess Shakur's upset that he's not fighting either one of those guys or for the vacant title. But here's the issue with Shakur, what I've been told. He's got one more fight left on that Top Rank deal that pays him a lot of money. That last fight that I was at was one of the worst fights I've ever been at against Edwin De Los Santos. He is looking at a reality where he hits the free agent market and the money that he expected or wants or has been receiving may not be there because he's at the stage that how you win actually matters. And that last fight, even though he won, it felt like a loss. So I think he's striking out. But unless Shakur has plans on going to medical school or getting a master's degree, I think boxing is where he's going to make his most amount of money.
Medical
school. So Teofimo Lopez pulled this last year after he beat Josh Taylor, and everyone rolled their collective eyes. We didn't believe it. It's not to be believed. But today's, what do they call it, Gen Z boxers? They're not. They are what they are. We all have to be sensitive to their feelings. The days of a Marvin Hagler living his life as a man that had to raise a family as a black man when fighters actually were not treated as well as they are today. And Hagler said as a contender, he was undefeated. He said, okay, I'm going to have to go into Philadelphia and take on the best guys they have. That's where the iron is. I got to take on the iron. I got to build my career. And Joe Frazier told him, he goes, Marvin, you got 3 problems. You're black, you're southpaw, and you're too good. But you know what? He made it work. These guys just complain and pout on social media. It's really hard to stomach, and they don't fight enough. That's the other thing these guys don't realize. The only way you're going to get better at your craft is not just through training or practice. You have to actually perform in live situations, and you have to do it often so the public understands and knows who you are. And that's one dynamic I don't think the modern fighter will ever truly comprehend.
No, that's a good point, man. I guess for me, like, so final question on that front. What's the win, though? What are these fighters winning by saying I'm retiring? Is it the hopes to get out their contract? Is there hope? Like, what's the?
Well, okay.
I don't understand it.
Can I just tell you something? If Shakur Stevenson would say, I want out of my contract, release me from my couple $1 million that I'm guaranteed, Top Rank would say, okay, when, where?
Right. So I just don't understand.
We'll FedEx you the contract. We'll send you a fax like National Letter of Intent Day. If you want to get out of your last fight with us and we're no longer bound to pay you $2.5-3 million, yes, so we can spend it on other fighters, yes. I mean, that's the reality. And all this does, in my view, it gives me great Twitter fodder. Because last night, I was cracking myself up. I was on my egg, so I want to thank Shakur. Shakur, you poured the hell out of me in November, but you gave it back to me because I entertained my audience. I mean, look at the reaction to all the tweets on Shakur Stevenson, and people are putting up yawning memes. You know, they're putting up all these graphics. They're like, yeah, right.
This is why I told JB thought you were serious at first when you were tweeting this out last night.
No. I didn't. I said he's killing it. I was saying he's killing them. Yeah.
I mean, because look, I like Shakur. He probably doesn't like me anymore, but I don't really care. But he's a brilliant little boxer, great skills. I think he's one of the best in the world. But this is the entertainment business. I mean, look, is he better than Jaime Munguia technically? No doubt about it. But Jaime Munguia, every time he fights, you know what I see? A fight. And I thought this past weekend, under the direction of Freddie Roach, he looked like an improved version of himself. And I told someone at Golden Boy, it was Eric Gomez, their president, I said, Eric, I think Jaime improved. Now, you know what you guys have to do? Get him back by June. Don't let him sit and get fat, and 7 months later, you have to start all over again. Get him 3 fights this year. Make sure Virgil Ortiz comes back 2 more times. Ryan Garcia, he's a mess. I'm hearing that Ryan Garcia, after all he's done, I would not rule out the possibility of him actually facing Devin Haney again because he has to circle back to it. But these young fighters have to realize all your complaining and all of this self-pity that you do on Twitter, nobody cares. Get out there, do your job, let us see your performances, and get paid. That's it. There's no secret formula to this.
I agree. I got to ask you, there's 2 NFL jobs open right now. The Seattle Seahawks with some good young talent, good receiving core, good back, good young secondary players, getting better up front defensively, got to get O-line. And then Geno, we don't know what he is. He had a great year last year. This year he's hurt a lot. He struggled. And the Washington Commanders, I don't know if they have a quarterback for the future or not. Looks like they're drafting one. Who's taking those jobs respectively, and what's the better job, I guess, the more attraction of the 2?
Oh, I think Seattle. Seattle has a good, serviceable quarterback. They have a lot of weapons, and they seem to have drafted pretty well the last few years. If I'm Seattle, I kick the tires on Vrabel. Toughen up that franchise, make them really physical, and then, hire a good offensive coordinator. It's going to be a little different.
Steve, Lombardi said he doesn't even understand. He's not even got a fucking interview.
Yeah, I just wonder if he's almost too tough and physical for people.
That's what Lombardi said. Lombardi said he threatens people's jobs.
Right, but I thought Seattle, this is the disappointing part of Pete Carroll, because I thought this year's team was going to be better. I thought they should have been a little bit more physical and better defensively, and they really weren't. So, look, Pete is an upbeat, energetic guy, and sometimes when you replace a guy like that, you want to go the opposite. You want a tougher, harder, more stern approach. The Washington job, a lot of issues there. A lot of issues, starting with bad uniforms and a bad team name. And then you got to find, then you got to, I heard the stadium's falling apart. So I don't really know. That's just a job. That's a job. I didn't think Ron Rivera had much of a shot to succeed there. By the way, is Eric Bieniemy going to get an interview there for that job?
That's what we're asking, because apparently Ron Rivera is interviewing today in LA for the Rams.
Ooh, what?
DC.
As a DC. Now that's pretty solid.
That's good.
That's pretty solid. He's a respected football guy.
Here's the thing, Steve, that there's going to be some domino effects that go into this thing. Number one, Dan Quinn, if he does leave Dallas, if he is a finalist for either one of these jobs, who replaces him? Ron Rivera is another guy. He can go from one NFC East team to another. He can replace Dan Quinn in that one. And then there's going to be some domino effects here. Where do you see Dan Quinn fitting in? Because do you like a Quinn or a Vrabel? One's been to a Super Bowl. One hasn't, but still, they're both similar type of guys, defensive-minded, hard-nosed.
After that last game in Dallas, I don't know if Dan Quinn would be on my list.
One game is going to change all that? One game?
Yeah, but that one game, geez, I don't know. Look, Dan's been a head coach. Maybe Seattle goes back and reunites there. I'm not.
Now, you had a defensive guy in Pete. Do you go back defensive guy in Seattle, or are you going?
Well, the thing that if you're Seattle, do you go for Ben Johnson? I mean, Ben could work in Seattle with those weapons. They have a good set of running backs. They have a quarterback that Geno Smith is probably. I don't know if he's as good as Jared Goff, but they've had similar successes at times, although Jared Goff's had a higher ceiling. Number one pick. You have great receivers. You have a great trio out there. I mean, Ben Johnson, if you want to spruce up the offense and be an exciting team, Ben Johnson in Seattle. But then you have to figure, can Geno Smith play under center? Because that's a lot of what Ben Johnson does.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
I don't know what's going to happen, man. With the coach's side, I mean, it's crazy to even think. I know we already brought this up a couple of times, but just the fact that as of right now, as of where we stand right now, it looks like Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick are not coaching next year. That's what it looks like right now. I mean, unless something dramatic changes with someone.
He didn't go to the East Coast. I don't see it.
I think it's a shame. Look, the Seattle team this year was a tad disappointing. I would have said this, Pete. Let's run this back one last time, because I think that the elements are there for them to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
And the way he was talking at that last press conference, he did not look like a guy who wants to fade gently out into the sunset. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And I'm kind of shocked that either one of those two guys who have fire are left out for these young guys who have yet to do anything. I love Dave Canales, known him since he was a little kid, but what's he done? I can't believe he would. But then also, we don't know if Pete and Bill were like, no thanks. We're not going to Carolina. So, there's a lot to it, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it all unfolds here. But so, look, we both were on Whitlock yesterday about Lamar and Mahomes and all these other things. I was debating with Smitty here. Greg Roman's a guy who's been to 2 Super Bowls with 2 different quarterbacks on 2 different teams. They wanted him out of Baltimore. He went to 2 Super Bowls, but either one of them were with Lamar, and we wanted him out. Now we want Monken out. Lombardi brought up a good point. He was like, when is Harbaugh going to take some heat? I said it last week with Smitty. I said, Harbaugh gets a pass a lot of times, and Tomlin is on this. They have the exact same record, basically, since they both won a Super Bowl last, 10 and 12, I think. When is Harbaugh going to take some heat? Kind of, isn't it in the same kind of boat like Shanahan?
Kind of like, look, post Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, when they won it in 2012, the record is the record in the playoffs. And this is a bad loss for the Ravens. You had home field advantage. You had the best team in football. You had the MVP, and you had the worst version or the least explosive version of the Chiefs the last 5 years. You got to get home on that.
Yeah,
you got to find a way to win that game. And as for Lamar, look, that was a tough one. I thought Kansas City's front four did a great job of just creating a picket fence. I thought they stayed in their contained rush lanes as well as any team you're going to see. And then some of Lamar's limitations in the intermediate pass game were really exposed. But this is an alarming stat for Lamar. And there's a guy by the name of Skap Attack, SKAP Attack. He does unbelievable video breakdowns on a lot of different sports. And if you're a LeBron James fan, don't ever go there because you won't be able to take the truth. Now, with that said, he had a stat. Did you know that Lamar is 0-4 when the defense gives up 13 or more points in the playoffs?
Yeah.
So that's an alarming stat because once in a while you kind of need that quarterback to win a shootout where your defense has a bad game, give up a few explosives, and you got to say, hey, win me a game 38-35.
Well, here's my whole issue with this. Like, we don't ever discuss it. Like, we'll like, I just want to be clear here. We got to be able to critique everyone the same. It ain't about color. It ain't about any of that shit. Smitty and I fuck around with all that all the time on here. But to be honest, this guy fought for his bag. He got his bag, and he did not earn the bag. Like, let's be honest.
Hold on, Coach. Wait a minute, though. A guy that has made numerous Pro Bowls and an MVP was going to get that deal.
Right.
I get it.
And went to an AFC championship. I guess my whole thing, JB, like winning a Super Bowl is so fucking hard. And even getting there is so fucking hard. Andy Reid, before he joined the Chiefs, we praised him for getting to, what was it, 4 or 5 straight NFC championship games? It was 6. See, I'm sorry. I'm short one. I'm short a couple. But we praised him for even getting there because we knew how hard it was. Even though he had never won, we praised him for just getting to that point. My thing is, it's so hard but most of us did. It's so hard to even get to a Super Bowl, let alone win one. So if the only standard is you either won Super Bowl, you didn't, then damn near nobody should get paid.
Though, Darnell, I don't think it's Lamar. I think Lamar's become. I mean, Whitlock talked about it. Lamar has become a symbol of black quarterback, and it's for DA culture, right? Okay, yeah. You know who's never asked for that? Lamar. Lamar just wants to play ball. Most of these guys just want to play ball.
As a black man on this show, I will admit this. Lamar didn't ask for anything, but Lamar's a guy from down south, from the gutter, and he's a guy who's just himself. And I think as black people, we see that, and he's a good kid, never got any trouble, no issues, goes out there, plays hard, but he's himself. Whether that's just how the way he talks, which is unique to being from Florida, it's not typical, for being honest. The way he dresses, the way he does it, his hair might be different, but he's himself, and he's just a good representation. As a black community, I will admit we are biased to Lamar because it's almost like you're seeing yourself almost. It's like yeah, but I grew up with a lot of Lamars in my neighborhood, so it's like damn, but Lamar, one of us made it.
Not want to be that guy. He wears a shirt that says "Shut up, work hard, no one cares."
Yeah, but hold on, but why can't two things be why can't two things be true though? Why can't you be like a work hard, all that, and your people support you? Like it's almost like
point.
Jeremy Lin in the NBA. Everybody was going crazy for Jeremy Lin during Linsanity because they want to support their person. Like I get that, I understand.
Yeah, but you know what's funny though? I hated that. Jeremy Lin makes the Asian culture no better. Did not matter.
Okay, Yao Ming then. Let's use Yao Ming.
It mattered more in China than here. Asian Americans, we did not check the box score every day for Yao Ming, or I didn't. Because I understand one thing. You know why? It means nothing.
I hear you.
And I've said this before. It's going to upset people. Instead of looking for the next great Super Bowl winning quarterback, every community would be better if you had 5,000 more doctors, 5,000 more business owners, 5,000 more lawyers, 5,000 more people that become family heads. That's why I feel bad for Lamar. Lamar just wants the ball. He's not here to make your dream come true.
I think Smitty misunderstood. He was actually saying the same shit Smitty's saying. Steve's saying what you're saying. He's saying that he didn't ask for
Lamar didn't ask for that.
He's just trying to be himself, and I think we throw him into the genre of he want to be this guy and that guy. No, he just wants the ball. That's why I've always said. Yeah. That's why I've always defended Lamar. Like he's a great kid, great character. Always. Like
it just comes with the territory though. Like if you're a star, it just comes with it. Like it is what it is.
Yeah, but you know what? I guarantee there's gonna be an athlete one day that says, hey, what do you think about you doing this for the culture? He'll be like, time out. First of all, I live in a white gated community. I saw the dysfunction and the lack of discipline that I had. I'm doing this for me. That guy would get hammered, even though it's the truth. Most of these guys don't care about these causes, and they shouldn't. They're trying to make a living. They have a finite amount of opportunities. If I was an athlete and I did everything correct, and then all of a sudden I'm supposed to represent all those people that didn't have the hard work, didn't have the discipline, never went to school, did all the wrong things, and got thrown in jail, I'd be like, yeah, good luck to you.
But Steve, I'm not saying he should be doing it for us or for black people.
I'm with you.
I'm not saying that's his goal. I'm just saying naturally, you're going to see somebody who looks like you, who
I agree. No, I'm with
you.
You're
actually going to support them, not because they asked for it, because that's just what it is. We supported AI. We supported,
but you know,
we're just going to do it. That's just what it is.
I see this a lot in boxing. They make this into a civil rights issue. Like somehow Deontay Wilder on Black History Month, he's got to do this, and then Fury whipped him. Guess what? It's still just a boxing match. It was never more than what it was. One guy was just better than the other. And then the other thing is, you literally have Ryan Clark saying he's doing it because he's authentically and culturally. And he actually said, well, Doug Williams, not really. Really, Doug Williams actually went to an HBCU, graduated, went to Zachary, Louisiana, the Deep South. One guy did not go to a PWI. Remember, that was a big talk. What happened to that? He didn't go to Louisville. He didn't go to he went to an HBCU playing for a black man. Yet now you have pundits saying, well, he's not black enough. Really? Yeah. See, that's where Lamar is a victim of this whole mindset. All Lamar did was lose a football game. He did not let anybody down, except maybe the Ravens. That's all I'm saying. All these people, if you get that offended that someone would call Lamar a glorified running back, here's the problem. The problem is you. Number one, you take this too seriously. And number two, you have bad priorities in life. But outside of that, I hope everyone's still having a great day.
No, you're right, though. We do take sports seriously. And you are right. Technically speaking, it would be way better if we had 1,000 more doctors, 1,000 more teachers, 1,000 more. But the reality is, those doctors and teachers, my wife's a nurse. Like, these people aren't put in the public view to praise. We don't know about them. So that's why we're not going to have debates about the best doctors and teachers and nurses. It's not because they're not great. That don't come with the territory. We're going to have these debates about the sports stars because we see them. Millions of views are on them. So that's just the reality of what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Hey, no, I'm with you on that. But Lamar just wants to ball. I don't think Lamar has ever been that guy saying, I want to lead you. Never. And I just think Lamar, the thing I like about Lamar, I think Lamar actually cares about the game.
Yeah.
I don't actually see him doing that much on social media. And I know me and Whitlock disagree here. I think Lamar still has a window to win a Super Bowl.
I agree.
He does. Because I thought that game on Sunday, the Ravens' number one ranked defense was not good the first drive or two. You got to set the tone defensively at home and say, okay, 3 and out. If Lamar struggles early, let's keep us in the ball game. They didn't do that, though. So I don't think it's just all on Lamar, to be honest with you. But there are certain things about his game he's going to have to continually evolve.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, Super Bowl's coming up. We'll have you on Thursday to talk more about that and next week, of course. But there's a fight that weekend or that week you're going to be at. I might be at with you. What's that fight like? Who's in it? And is that a worthy watch?
Yeah, well, it's Teofimo Lopez, who retired for about 15 minutes last year. That's the new trend. And he's going to be taking on Jermaine Ortiz. That's on the 8th of February. Jermaine Ortiz, a pretty good fighter, gave Vasil Lomachenko a pretty tough run about a year and a half ago. And then also Keyshawn Davis, bright young prospect. But Teofimo is one of the best fighters in the world. He really is. I identified him after his third fight, and I said that guy could be a star. But he's another guy that's had a lot of issues in terms of consistency, getting out there. He tries to be Confucius on social media instead of just fighting more often. But when he's at the top of his game, when he is sharp and he is focused, not only is he one of the best fighters in the game, he's one of the best showmen. Yeah. Like, he really is. He's a true entertainer with power, speed, technique. He can counterpunch. He can knock you out with one punch. But he's another guy that has to get going. Like Mario Lopez and I, we had Bob Arum on the show yesterday. It's going to come out today. And we asked Bob, where's Teofimo stand mentally right now? Bob thinks it's good. They want to work with them. And hopefully, and again, if boxing wants to move further, they got to get Teofimo, Tank Davis, Shakur, Devin Haney, and Ryan Garcia. They got to get these guys to fight each other more often. It can't be just once every other year they happen to fight. You want to make boxing into a real legitimate sport. Those guys have to be willing to face one another. It's really that simple.
Yep. Make them fight. That's what I want to see.
They got to fight. Steve, we appreciate you. We're going to take a break. Michael Lombardi, Steve Kim, so far already on a fire show. Are you on Whitlock today?
I am not on Whitlock, but you should definitely check out yesterday's show. For all of you guys that hate Whitlock, please watch tomorrow's show or yesterday's show. Oh, my God. The stuff he said had me cracking up. And by the way, guys, I got a recommendation. There's a YouTube channel called SCAP Attack, S-K-A-P Attack. He did a breakdown because all these analytic guys that love the numbers, he did a breakdown that if LeBron really is the greatest player based on the numbers, everyone talks about the numbers, he did a comparison of the first 6 years of Luka Doncic to LeBron, and I'll send it to you guys. Luka might be the GOAT. It's just about that. Luka might be the GOAT. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to send you that video.
Hey, Steve, since we got you on here, hold on. Let's watch this GOAT. Oh, great defense. Great defense.
Bad boys.
Look at Rick Mahorn and Lambeer play physical defense right there. That's great defense. Hold on. Let's watch this. I got Steve Kim on here. We got Steve Kim. Pound the like button. We're going to love this whole segment before Steve walks out of here. He's pounding his chest, Steve. That's right after he got a kid kicked out for talking shit to him, by the way.
Wow, look at that. Look at that help side defense. Look at the way he get. Oh, what way to draw a charge.
I love, you know what? One comment and I'm going to fall back. I love how we can pick, a couple plays here and there to fit our narrative, because I know for a fucking fact I can find 1,000 of those plays.
Oh, really? Hold on.
80s and 70s.
Let's watch this.
Go ahead and play your highlights. Go ahead and play it.
Let's watch this, Big Steve. Big
Go ahead and play it.
Oh, Larry Bird, slow white guy, couldn't play in the league.
His defense is phenomenal.
Well, it is, though. Hold on. You really don't think that defense is tougher than what we're seeing today with a bunch of pylons?
Yeah, no, the era was tougher. It was different rules. I get that.
Could you imagine if Larry and Michael could use HGH? I mean, it'd be unbelievable. They could probably play 50 years. Did I just say that? I did. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Larry that is underrated. And I get this a lot on Twitter. People have actually said, could Larry Bird play in today's game? He could probably play all 5 positions, at least 4. And the one thing that people do not realize about Larry, and this once again about the stereotype, Larry, I saw a picture with Larry standing next to Magic. Now, Magic was listed at 6'8". I was stunned that Magic was actually significantly shorter than Bird. Bird might actually be about 6'9" to 6'10". So the one thing about Larry Bird's game, and as someone that watched every one of those games with the Lakers and Celtics, the most difficult thing about Larry was he was such a dead-eye shooter. You had to play right in his chest or he could just pull all day. He had a sneaky fast first step, and he had unbelievable usage of head fakes and pump fakes. And people do not realize he was not Dominique Wilkins, but at his size, he could actually play a little bit over the rim. This whole notion that he never dunked is wrong. He was actually much better in the air finishing at the rim than a Dirk Nowitzki. And with the way the game is spaced out today, Larry would almost be let's just put whatever Luka Doncic did, he'd probably do 25% more. And I want to apologize to Michael Jordan. Michael, I have sinned. I said something that was very erroneous and I'm wrong. I once said that in today's game that he'd score 40 points. He would average 40. Michael, I was dead wrong. You'd probably average about 48.5. I'm a big enough man to admit it. I'm wrong. Once in a while, it happens. But Michael Jeffrey Jordan, I'm sorry. Probably on some nights you score 60 if you really wanted to, if you only played 18 holes of golf or 36. But I'm watching last night's Laker game at the end. I'm at some place, we're having dinner, and I look over. The Lakers gave up 130 some odd points again.
Says Houston.
Houston, you had a problem, but it wasn't the Lakers. But anyway, the SCAP Attack, SKAP Attack. And
hey,
for all
Steve, as you leave here today, I just want you to leave knowing this. If Jordan would do that, then Kobe would score 80.
There's no doubt. Look, Kobe's 81 will always be more impressive than anything that happens today. Because if you actually look at that game, they were down by 16-17 in the third quarter. And by the way, this guy Scap Attack, he loves Kobe.
Oh, okay.
So now you like him. See, now you want to subscribe.
Hey, y'all, go follow Scap Attack. SKAP Scap Attack. We bringing him on the show tomorrow, man. Shout out to Scap Attack.
Yeah, I'll send you guys some stuff, and I'll talk to you guys Thursday.
All right, later. Steve Kim, everybody. Appreciate everybody so far. We're loaded lineup today. We have a loaded one. It ends. We got Doc Talk. Jesse Morse joined us earlier this morning. Him and Smitty got a major beef. They're gonna fight when they see each other. We had big Michael Lombardi. Shout out to a legend and who agreed with me every single one.
He knows everything too. That's why I love him. He knows
Steve
everything.
Kim, who agreed with me on every single thing. We had that, and then we end with Tank Johnson. And he said he got some loaded in the chamber for us. We'll see. Hey, Smitty, we have to come up top rope together. At the end of the day, we don't like each other. We don't talk. We don't get along. It's racist. But we have a mutual common goal.
Gotcha. Yep.
And we have to always, at the end of the day,
we got to win.
I'm going to defend you at the end of the day over somebody talking shit. If they just absolutely just trying to kill my co-host, then I'm going to defend you regardless, even if I don't agree with it. And then later,
offline, we could talk about, hey, bro, you was wrong.
You wrong, and you know that he was wrong. But yeah, so we got a lot of shit going on.
I got to be like a Russian racehorse at the Kentucky there with a glue truck behind him.
Hey, we'll see. Jay Earn be coming in. He be talking shit. He not a member either. He talking shit, little AC Green looking ass. That motherfucker look like AC Green like a motherfucker. Like AC Green had no pussy. Hey, look. You know what my daddy told me, Smitty? And I'll never forget it.
Today, tell you, JB.
It's funny that people don't realize and really think about this. But I'm gonna be honest. I think cats should go back to buying pussy. You know why?
Why, JB?
Because free pussy costs too much. God damn, he dropped the bar when he told me that, and I'll never forget it. You want me to say it again? People need to go back to buying pussy because free pussy costs too much. Y'all don't realize what I just said, but when you do, you thank me. Smitty, you see him drinking that drink? Is he married? You know the deal. He's like, JB just told the truth bomb and he can't comment. Big Smitty's suffocating himself. Bailey, take us away before he drowns himself. We'll be back in 4 minutes. And this is horrible, horrible, horrible. Like, you're getting trapped down here. Real simple coverage, what they do at college level. We're going to trap you to the field here. And he throws right to the trap corner. I'm not going to knock Hurts here, but the offensive schematics, he's sprinting out on a naked off a zone read look, Matt. Let me ask you something, Matt. On a zone read look, who the fuck is throwing this route across the formation against the grain of the cube?
No one.
So why aren't you giving him a third level concept?
And look at the effort by him too. They know he's not getting
horrible. It's fucking horrible.
And this is bad, bro. And then look at the receiver too. He's not breaking off his route. He's turning outside to the sideline rather than turning inside to the quarterback. Right now, the ball should be going to Devontae Smith on a stop route on an inside fucking like hot adjustment immediately. If he's going to sink on the flat route like this, you've got to throw the second level part. Anything.
Matt, you got to have some separation. So what? This guy can't play both, right?
Nope, can't do both.
And this guy is playing both.
But Jalen is predetermined, Coach. You know this. He's not reading anything. Everything he's doing is a predetermined destination. They tell him who to throw the ball to, and then he does it. He says, okay, I'm throwing the ball to A.J. Brown this play. I'm throwing the ball to Devontae Smith this play. Instead of manipulating the defense with his eyes and with the movement and with the motion, they use motion to get guys open rather than using motion to identify what the defense is doing. And in turn, getting guys open. Like, if you don't understand what I'm talking about when I say that, you're a mental cripple. Like, people use motion and formation variation to figure out if you're in man or zone, to figure out how you're going to play certain things. This look right here, go back, coach, to the beginning of it.
Matt, this is some of the most elementary garbage.
Stop right there. Stop. All right. Now this right here is I would say this is an under front when you're looking at it from a run game perspective. It's an over front when you're looking at it from a pass game perspective. However you want to call it, it's called. But think about it like this. They do this and they're going Ray to 0. Okay. So that's a 3-man slide to 0 if you go back to the back end. And then they commit 7 guys. All right. And they when they do that, the right side right here should be kicking all the way 52, bam, 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 out. And then the left guard, left tackle are both rock one-on-one on the 2 down linemen. So hit play real quick.
They won plus the protection. This should have been.
I understand, but Jalen Hurts should be moving his back over, or they should be full turning this. Like there's ways to adjust this and pick it up. 50, and the other thing is that's space pressure. If they do want to roll with this like this, that's fine. But now Jalen, throw the ball now. The ball needs to go out. You see that fucking hole where 52 leaves and Devontae Smith could win outside and then go back.
All right. Let's see here. Get this thing going. We're back in the building. Pound the like, subscribe, become a member if you're not one by now. Make sure you follow all of our great guests as well. Matt McChesney, Tank Johnson, Steve Kim, Dr. Jesse Morse coming on, giving us all the insight. Plus everybody else that comes on the show. We are back in the building. Big Smitty's back, and our Tuesday guest, legendary 10-year NFL vet, the pride of Gary, Indiana, Chicago Bear, Dallas Cowboy, voice of reason, Smitty, the bunker, JB rivalist. Is that a word?
It is today.
Tank Johnson, champ it up.
Let's go.
Hey, we got a very conflicted show today, Tank. We've had Michael Lombardi, 3-time Super Bowl champ, legendary GM, front office guy, who's kind of agreed with Smitty, but everything else was with me.
No, I was fully on my side.
Steve Kim, who took Lamar Jackson's side over Jason Whitlock. It's kind of conflicted. I'm really kind of fucking confused today, so I don't really know where to go. I know where I'm going, but I'm just saying. Welcome in. We got a lot going on. First thing right out the gate. Are you surprised in the 2 opponents that are going to be facing each other in Vegas for the Super Bowl? And is Taylor Swift the sole reason the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl? I'll just talk with you. But go ahead. Are you shocked?
No. I mean, I'm not shocked. I mean, I look at it like I wanted to see the Ravens in Detroit, but those guys had their opportunity and they obviously let it slip away. The 49ers and the Chiefs, they earned the right to be there. And, I think it's going to be a very competitive Super Bowl that I probably won't watch.
You're not watching it. Why is that?
I mean, I think I've seen it before. I've seen, when it plays out like this, I don't really have any investment in any of the 2 teams. And so I probably, I'll probably peek at it because I am an American who's played football, but I won't sit there and watch the entire game because I'm just not that interested.
You ain't ordering no wings and making no homemade rotel dips, some jalapeno poppers, a couple drinks, and just watching the commercials.
He gonna be there, Smitty.
Man.
He gonna be in Vegas.
I will not be in Vegas. I will be watching some show with my wife. Maybe Hightown. Griselda's been very good. We might watch Griselda again, but I can probably find 2 or 3 things more interesting than the 49ers and the Chiefs.
Quick side note, I know we got to move on, JB. How was Hightown? I've been meaning to turn that on. It comes on Stars. Yeah. The little ad looks good. I mean, wanted to tune. Is it good? Is it worth the watch?
I mean, it'll keep you entertained. You'll be slapping your forehead like, how can this happen? But like I said, you'll keep coming back for more. It's definitely it'll keep you engaged.
I'm tuning in, brother. Thank you. All right, JB.
Hey, D Jones is a brother in the chat who has a profile picture of Sunshine. Make that make sense. But listen, he said Tank Johnson ain't watching the Super Bowl. That he basically just commented in the chat and said the NFL has lost its base officially. There's more and more ex-NFL players that I hear this from. Common denominator. I've seen it before. I don't want to watch this no more. It's just losing its luster. It's losing its interest. Like, is there a Taylor Swift narrative to this? Like, even though we joke around, is this something that kind of weighs on you a little bit? Like, man, this is just kind of being pushed a little too hard for me. Is that a lot of disinterest in the fan base or the ex-player?
Yeah, man. When I saw a post from the official NFL account with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce with just a heart as the caption, I was just like, damn, like they say that she's responsible for $335 million in the way of ads and promotion and things of that way. I mean, look, I think it's I hated to say this, but like Roger Goodell has ruined the NFL, man, as we know it. And as much as he's, someone that we've been close over the years, I've got to be honest, man. The NFL has gone to the highest bidder, and there's really no understanding or about the people who have equity in the NFL, and their money spends too. But I think the NFL's been sold, man, and that's sad because when I left the game, okay, that was when it was a media invasion. There used to be a 10, 15-minute period where the players could go in the locker room, decompress, get their thoughts together. And now it's just like, soon as you come in, the media is in there with you. It's just been sold, man. And that's what they say about Americans. Americans all have a price.
I do agree with that. I won't sell, but there are. I bet you that is true across the board. It's unbelievable. Where you at, man, with this rip curl thing? I didn't do my morning rant. I did a make it make sense, but I didn't do a rant. I want to do a rant with both of you guys. Non-football. I don't know if you saw the movie documentary, true story about a girl, a lady at now, but a girl at the time named Bethany Hamilton. Smitty, you know anything about the white girl?
Not at all.
I swear to God, I advise you, because I try to get out my comfort zone, get comfortable being uncomfortable. There's a surfing movie. I've never surfed in my life. That's white people shit, and I've never done it. There's a surfing movie, because if you're a competitor and like all of us are, and if you really enjoy great stories, there's a movie out there called Soul Surfer, and it's a girl named Bethany Hamilton. True story, by the way. She ended up being a champion after all this, and it's an unbelievable story. But she got her arm bit off by a great white shark surfing. As a kid trying to be a professional, she got her shit chopped off by a goddamn great white shark in Hawaii. Well, Rip Curl magazine, which is a surfing magazine, bodyboarder, boogie boarder, whatever, white people shit, has featured a male surfer as winning a female event and is now the female surfer of the year is a fucking male. Now, this is what has me irked, Smitty, and we don't get into too much politics on this thing, but Bethany Hamilton, mind you, is a woman who had her arm bitten off by a shark, as I just mentioned, as documented on the great movie Soul Surfer. This is a woman who already had a battle against all odds, dog. Like, she already had to battle her own gender against not having a fucking arm, and now she has to watch men jump in her sport to compete versus women. I just think it's a shameful job by this company to put this on their magazine, and whoever allows this shit, to me, in my opinion, is just it's really disrespectful and insensitive. I'm glad Bethany came out and said male-bodied athletes should not be competing in female sports. I got a daughter, and I just find it hard. Marcellus Wiley's came out about this. Other guys, I find it hard to find this thing equitable, even, whatever you want to call it. I just continue to find that this is just pathetic display, and I just think that we keep allowing this shit, man, instead of coaching it. This girl already beat all odds, and now she has to face biological men. It don't sit well with me.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen. I mean, we, the saying, you gotta become comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think they've taken that slogan way too far, because a lot of this stuff I'm just so uncomfortable with at who is making these decisions at the highest level. I'm not really gonna, go in a deep dive in politics because I'm not that vested in it. But I mean, it's just, I just don't understand. I just feel bad for the next generation having to have these rules that we were told were just, not the way to be and not the way to go. And I don't know, I was talking to a good friend of mine yesterday, actually my barber, Joy Johnson here in Arizona, who is a phenomenal female barber. And she was talking about a cultural shift that we're feeling in this country that almost feels a bit like Hunger Games. And it's just uncomfortable, I would say, all the way around with these people making these decisions.
Yeah, I agree. It's crazy. I don't know. I can't fathom it. I hope Smitty, I hope he does have a kid, daughter and son, but it's crazy because I got partners that have boys, sons, and it's crazy. The Freeway Rick Ross, not the rapper, the real one, who raised me for the most part, was like, look, man, I got 6 daughters, no sons. And he believes in generational curses and shit like that. And like, I got to teach my daughters how not to be, I had daughters because I was such a player. And he like, we did women wrong as youngsters, not like beat them or anything, but like just did them wrong, right? We were playing, we was going to the next broad, and I was that way and all that. And I had a daughter, and I looked at it like, damn, maybe there's truth to that. But then but other partners got sons, though. So maybe God gave us a son to teach them how not to be like us and teach the daughter the right way. How do you raise a kid now with this shit? Like, which one is it? Like, fucking daughter, son, or what the fuck? He, she?
I have this. I had this theory. I also too have 2 daughters, and I had this theory of all of my friends, and I always said that like, when a man is fully committed and fully vested in a woman, I believe the higher power will give you a boy. And I feel like when you have less of that commitment and you are kind of doing the things around the way, the Most High will give you a daughter. And, I said that like, even though, I've been with my wife for almost 20 something years, I had to have a mental shift. And I feel like if I were to have a kid now, it would definitely be a boy, but I ain't chancing that shit.
He said, we won't be finding out, will we?
I won't be finding out.
No doubt.
Tom is just crazy, man.
I got to give a shout out. I texted my boy. Alan's in the chat. I texted Jermaine Johnson. Tried to get him to jump in here real quick. He said, appreciate you. Let me see if I can pop on real fast. He's driving. He just got a Pro Bowl. He's the first Last Chance U player to be inducted or to be in a Pro Bowl, get a Pro Bowl opportunity. So the first Last Chance U player. Shout out to Jermaine. See if he'll pop in here with us for a hot minute. Wanted to congratulate him in person. If not, we'll get him on later. But first Last Chance U player from the documentary to get into the Pro Bowl. I think who's my man for the Chargers that had a good year? Mack.
Khalil Mack.
He didn't go, and so they jumped Jermaine in. So I think Mack was the first one on the deal, and then I think they just bumped him in. And that's been happening a lot more over the years now, I think. And who wants, I don't know, play flag football, right? I guess.
But JB, I do want to say congratulations to you, man. You've done good by a lot of young men. You've put them in a great position, and I do want to say also congratulations to you, man. That's a reflection of you, buddy.
Yes, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. I've had, I think, since you were going to start, I'm going to pat myself on the back. I think I had 10 first-rounders drafted, 28 in the league, but 10 of them have been first-rounder. Jermaine's a first-rounder, but that's my second Pro Bowl. Well, he's not my second, but he'll be my first Last Chance U Pro Bowler, but I did have a Pro Bowl MVP as well play in Delaney Walker. So, nice. All right, so let's get into it, Tank. We spoke yesterday. Everybody's hot and bothered with the Lamar thing. Smitty is a pro Lamar guy. He loves Lamar. I love Lamar as well as a person, not as a player, but as a person. Where are we at with Lamar, man? What was your takeaway from that game? 17 points beat them, and we're anointing him the MVP. He can only muster 10 points. Where you at with Lamar?
I think it's pretty typical. When the QB wins, they get too much credit, and when they lose, they get too much credit.
I do agree with that.
Smitty, I was so disappointed in you, my dog, my young protege, Smitty. You jumped off the Lamar bandwagon so fast.
Ooh,
so fast. Oh, I can't. Lamar didn't play that well. I'm like, what game were you watching? Lamar Jackson played his tail off. He should have been sacked at least 10 times. He broke free from so many of the rushes that Spags took to him. I think the game plan was absolutely horrible. Anytime you go into the game with Odell Beckham and Zay Flowers as your number one and number two receivers, you're at a deficit. Odell had a great resurgence in LA as a result of Cooper Kupp being damn near quadruple teamed and him dragging across the middle and being open. And so he bamboozled the Ravens. But back to you, Lamar, or back to you. I couldn't believe how much you felt that this was on Lamar. Lamar played his tail off. And when you look at the game plan, I thought the game plan was something that they did differently than they had all season. They attacked the edges, they ran the ball, and they dropped back Lamar so many times that it was just ridiculous. Like, why would you just drop back like that? The last thing is the interception. The interception at the end. When back in the day, when you were side by side with a cornerback and a receiver, that was considered covered.
Even you're leaving.
You're leaving. That was considered covered. But then came the emergence of the back shoulder throw. The back shoulder throw changed the whole landscape of kind of like the corner having the receiver unlocked. I truly believe on that end zone throw, he was looking at a back shoulder situation so that the receiver had to go through the defenders to get a potential PI and give him a better chance to catch the ball. I believe it was a tight end, was covered by three people. He had his hand up as if he was Randy Moss.
Cannot make that decision.
Right here. I believe he was trying to bring him back to the ball so that he had to go through the defenders which gave them why would you put your hand up like that? You need to stop, put your foot in the ground, and go up and attack the ball. And I believe that's what Lamar Jackson was throwing him into, and they were not on the same page, and it caused the easy interception.
Let me go first, JB. Let me go first.
Please.
Everybody on the show knows I love Lamar, and I still do. And I do not put all the blame on Lamar. The blame is sprinkled around from game plan, from just the Chiefs defense just executing at a high level, to the Zay Flowers fumbling the ball right when he's crossing the goal line, to receivers not getting open. But Lamar definitely gets a fair share of that blame as well. And in large part because you are the quarterback. You touch the ball every single offensive play. You are the leader of the team. If they would have won the game, we would have been on here giving them full praise. So they lose. We, even as fans of Lamar, we have to give him some of that blame. That's number one. That's all. I did not jump off the bandwagon. You ask JB, I've still been finding ways to defend Lamar, but I don't think he played great. I think he had like a C+ game. He played okay. He played decently. Now, to your point in saying that last throw, he was trying to go back shoulder or something. Come on, Tank. We reaching, brother. I think, man, he didn't put enough air on it. If anything, throw it to the back of the end zone to give Isaiah Likely just an opportunity to where he's the only person who could potentially even catch it. That wasn't a back shoulder situation. He's getting triple team. He got somebody come over the top, two guys behind him. That wasn't even a back shoulder scenario.
But why not though? But why not? But here's what you're not understanding though. Is it's the back shoulder is twofold. It's one to give the receiver an opportunity to let the DB go by and go and get the ball, but also so that you can fight through contact and get the pass interference and get the ball advanced up the field. And if you look at the reaction from Lamar, it looked like he was basically saying, like, how can you not understand what we were trying to do? Like right there. See, you see how he tried to put his foot in the ground and come back, right? Yeah. Had he put his foot in the ground and came back through those defenders, that would have been a for sure PI opportunity, right? And so when you're on a comeback, you're trying to get penalties, you're trying to get points, anything to help advance the ball. And I truly believe Lamar wanted him to put his foot in the dirt, come back against the defenders, and you see the guy tried, but the DB kind of pushed him out of it. And I truly believe that's what they were trying to do.
I mean, I actually think it was a pass interference, even what actually happened. But I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think Lamar was like, "Ooh, pass interference." Like, I'm sorry. Like, maybe you would. JB, you're the quarterback on here.
I see it all the time. It happens all the time.
JB, jump in for a minute, man. Maybe I'm tripping. Jump in real quick. Like, do you think that was in that particular situation, that particular play? You think Lamar was going for the PI? I'm not. Listen, I can't be in the man's mind or his brain, so I don't know what he was thinking. I just thought he
Bailey, show that again, Bailey, one more time.
Break it down, JB. You the quarterback guru.
No, I just want to. So I want to rewind this play real quick. So right here, is this the play? All right. So right here, you look at him, Tank, and you see him. His eyes are to the right, and he's got Zay Flowers down here, number 7 on the bottom, and he's there clearly with his eyes right here. And that's the matchup. That's the one-on-one matchup. I don't think he's confident in himself to throw that ball to the back pylon one-on-one. And that's why he goes to the middle of the field in triple coverage. I don't believe this ball should have ever been thrown ever. I don't know where he's ever got any advantage on anybody. Like the throw, I just want to keep going here. Just hear me out. There he is. That was the one-on-one. 7 out here. 7 is inside now because the ball was thrown. But if you watch the play from the end zone, which I'll have tomorrow, he is one-on-one. That was the ball. I don't know why anyone would think he's supposed to go down the middle late. That is quarterback 101, what not to do. Don't throw the ball down the middle late.
True.
So
very true.
I don't know what we're looking at here as far as him thinking at all that he had a shot. Here's the thing that I want to dive into the Cooper Kupp's talk with when OBJ was there. Matthew Stafford is a ball spinner. I think top 5 of all time. He's a passer of the ball, an elite one at that. Lamar is a athlete playing quarterback, not a quarterback who is athletic. And that might sound stereotypical, which is shitty, but it's true.
I don't think it is though, JB. Because real quick, you told me when Lombardi was on here about an hour ago, you said in college, you said it that, or you, who's the guy who I can't remember his name. Anyway,
Eric McGee, who coached him at Louisville with Lombardi's son. Yeah,
you said Lamar in college was the guy who was making these throws under center doing. So like, how can we say that on one end and then on the other end saying that he's just an athlete who's like. I feel like you're picking both sides.
This is coming from the black quarterback coach who coached him, by the way.
Yep.
It's a fact. He is an athlete first. He's not a guy that we look at and say, all right, he's going to drop back, read coverage, throw the ball.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Listen, I've said it over and over. I got Alan in the chat. I would love to coach Lamar in college. No fucking question. I would love to coach Lamar now. But let's be clear about it. That's not his strong suit. So that is why Greg Roman did what he did with them. To Tank's point, this was a horrible game plan for Monken in this game to try to think that Lamar now is supposed to outpass Patrick Mahomes in a one-on-one, my dick is bigger than yours, mano-a-mano game plan. That's not Lamar's strong suit. We set him up for failure, absolute failure, by putting him in the pocket 38 times on straight drop back.
Yep.
When this guy is a guy to run boot naked, hold the backside in because we run so much zone read, so we can now boot naked it and throw off of the same look. He did nothing like that. I'm going to use his strong suits to make him be successful. Not sit him in the pocket 38 times and only run the ball 16 times when you're the leading rushing team in football with the best O-line in football. Made no sense whatsoever. I think it was a dick measuring contest to say that I have the MVP and he's better than Mahomes. I truly do believe that. Now, having said that, he's not a passer. Lamar is a thrower. He ad-libs with his feet to make throws to guys that are open like he did with Zay Flowers in that ball game, like he's done so many times with Hollywood Brown back in the day, other guys. But to say that OBJ didn't get the ball because of Cooper Kupp being triple covered, I disagree with that. I think the common denominator is Matthew Stafford versus Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is not a guy to get multiple receivers, 1,000-yard receiving seasons. He's not that guy. He's a guy to get you the ball when you're open. And I thought OBJ was a horrible signing from the jump because of his injuries, but I definitely didn't see him do anything during the season, and that's common denominator is Lamar Jackson. I don't think that was a good fit for Lamar. I would have stayed with Greg Roman at the coordinator spot, not Monken. Monken is a college spread system guy, even though he's been in the NFL. I don't think he fits Lamar to a T, especially when you go up against the greatest defensive coordinator in big games, Steve Spagnuolo. I just thought that was a recipe for disaster. That's what I'm standing on. I just thought we saw it in totality. I thought we saw him forcing the ball to be thrown, and Tank could be correct, 1,000% correct. Maybe Lamar's like, fuck, this is what the system tells me to do. But that's not what Lamar can do. And I think, I think it set him up. But let's be clear. Likely throwing his hand up. And we're blaming Likely for throwing his hand up. And
that part, Tank, I can't agree with you on that, brother.
That's completely fine that you guys don't see it the way that I see it, right? Like I'm not gonna sit here and defend the point as if my point's gonna change. I truly believe the guy was supposed to put his foot in the dirt and come back through the defenders, which would have given them a chance for a PI. That's what I believe.
I could actually see that. I agree with that. But don't you usually agree with me on this? Don't you usually see that ball being thrown towards the edge on a comeback so we can come back out of bounds, not in the middle of the field where there's
listen, the throw to the late to the middle of the field 100% is a no from a quarterback in the NFL. That is a fact. But again, I do believe that the back shoulder throw is twofold. One, to break the receiver open, and two, to get a pass interference call. And I'm more so gauging it off of Lamar's reaction. because the reaction is not from just throwing the interception. I think the reaction is from not being on the same page with the receiver more than anything.
Yeah.
All right. Let me transition then to Brock Purdy, because again, to your point at the start of the show, I think it's what have you done for me lately? And I think people change up in the media. We've seen all these other people change it. They change up like dirty draws. They change their narratives. Last week, Ryan Clark was against Purdy. Purdy was a choker, game manager. Today, he put him above Lamar, Dak, all these guys. And I'm like, God damn, homie, keep your damn word. Like, stay who you are. Tank is always going to be who he is. I'm going to be who I am. Smitty going to be who I am. I think that's why this show is the realest show on earth. But I want to be clear here. Brock Purdy, if you remove CMC, I don't believe Brock Purdy and the 49ers are in this Super Bowl. If you remove Lamar, I do believe that you're our playoff team still with that defense, run game, and O-line. Tyler Huntley is he's a very, very formidable backup in this league. I'm not saying he's going to win a Super Bowl. I'm not saying he's going to be in the AFC title game. Please understand. I'm not saying he's better than Lamar. All I'm saying is CMC clearly deserves some sort of consideration for the MVP because Purdy's not the guy. Let's just keep it funky. Purdy's not the fucking guy. He had 4 interceptions dropped, Tank. 4. If any one of those 4 picks are dropped, we're not talking about Purdy today like everybody in the media. We're talking about the Lions and Jared Goff in a Super Bowl. And I'm just trying to be clear here. Purdy is a guy that I'm not taking Purdy over Lamar. I'm not taking Purdy over a lot of these guys. But to Tank's point, it's what have you done for me lately? And we're only talking about the loser because he lost and the winner because he won. Nothing in between. We're not breaking down the film. We're not showing you that Purdy was god-awful. He made 2 plays with his feet, actually, that were more important than the ones with his arm. And yet we're praising him today because we anoint people in this business so fast. And I'm just telling you, I'm not a Purdy guy, and I think that CMC is the driving force on that particular roster. And without him, they have no shot. I think he's the MVP of the league this year and not a 24-touchdown throwing quarterback in a mid-ass quarterback league.
Yeah, I mean, look, the NFL needs faces and players in cornerstone franchises, right? And so anytime a guy has minimal success in a historic blue blood franchise like the 49ers, they are going to anoint him. They have a tremendous fan base. They've got, fan bases can be delusional and they don't have to be right because it's their team. And so I just truly believe it's a mechanism of him being the 49ers quarterback and them wanting to put him on a pedestal. I mean, if you look at their team, man, I'd give their offensive line the most credit for making these ginormous holes for CMC to run through. But I digress.
Like these are just 2 picks that should have been caught. I mean, there's 2 other ones.
11's playing DB.
Yeah, exactly. This game's over though. This game's not even close. It's not even close. Like that's the crazy part. Michael Lombardi said it best though. Like these media people that come out and say momentum has no effect on football, it's all analytics, never fucking played. It's an absolute dumbass statement. Like momentum is clearly the number 1 derivative in winning football games. You sack the quarterback, it is a momentum swing all day long, especially at home or on the road. If you throw a pick, that is a momentum swing. If you miss a field goal, it is a momentum swing. If you don't kick the field goal and don't get the first down twice, it is
a momentum swing.
And media people are saying there's no such thing. It's all analytics. I'm trying to figure out when the fuck did these people play, number 1. Number 2, when did common sense just fucking go out the window? Eric Weddle was on here yesterday, Tank, and threw his fucking phone on the show because he's so pissed off that Dan Campbell didn't give his players the opportunity to make it to this Super Bowl and at least have a conversation. Hey, dog, you want to go for this? You like this?
I was going to ask you about that, JB. You made a comment and you said as a head coach, you ask your team, do they want to go for it or not? I've played football for a long time, and I haven't played offense at the highest level, but I've never seen a coach ask anyone but the quarterback, like, how do you feel about this? When you say ask the team, are you just talking about the quarterback, or who else are you talking about?
No, first of all, I'm talking to the defense. I'm gonna ask my D coordinator. Maybe as a player you never heard because the coaches were talking in the headset to each other. Like, I would always converse with the DC first. Hey, dog, how you feeling?
Okay,
how you playing? How you playing? You stopping the run? At that moment, it was 24-10, Tank. The Lions, to be honest, were dominating both sides of the ball up front. I thought the Lions had a 24-10 game. I thought they controlled the line of scrimmage both sides. And that opportunity on fourth down, you ask your DC, Aaron Glenn, hey, dog, you cool? Fuck yeah, we got him. We got him dialed in right now. Go for it. All right, backbreaker, right? Okay, let's do it. Or Aaron's like, hey, dog, we're up 14. Let's go up 17. You know, big momentum here if we don't get it. That whatever the DC would have told me in the headphones, I'd probably roll with it. Then if he's good with it, I'm still going to get another word or opinion from either the defense, which I've done a lot of times, and they were like, hell yeah, coach, fuck them, run it down their throat. Or they say, coach, let's punt it, man. We got these motherfuckers. Let's hold them. I'll listen to that too and make an executive decision. Or I go on offense and say, hey, you like this? Nah, coach, I don't like it. Let's punt it. I'll take some offensive coaches and some quarterback and my O-line. O-line was always first for me. And then I would say, all right, let's roll. I did it on fake punts. I did it on fake field goals. I did it on shit like that just because I wanted to know, like, all right, I'm not just going to be this big Dick Willie executive guy, dictator. I want this to be an all-in thing.
Isn't that your job as a head coach to make that call? Because I want to say this. I know, for example, when I was on the Bears, there was plenty of times where it was 4th and 1 and we got off the bench like, go for it. And then they punted it, you know, and you know, that was our, like, you guys can get that much yards. And so when you made the comment that you check with the team and all this, I think that's a job for a head coach to make, you know, with all the analytics that he's given.
And then also real quick, saying I want to jump in. We're also assuming that he didn't talk to nobody. We have no idea unless we got the full sideline conversation. Maybe he did talk to Glenn. Hey, he's like, hey, what you thinking right now? We up 24-10. We kicking their ass. They can't get anything right now. Let's put our foot on their throat and let's end it. Because as a former player, I ain't gonna lie, I used to like when my coach would go for it. I'm like, all right, bet, let's do it. Now again, it's situations, but when they were up 24-10, everyone like hates that he didn't kick the field goal. I'm a little bit more cool on that one. I'm like, man, we up. Like, we playing we have all the momentum right now. Let's keep this train going. Now, the second field goal when they were down 3 in the fourth quarter, that's the one where I'm like, all right, bro, like, this just don't make sense. This is just.
And it's a Tanks. Here's the thing. It is my decision, but it's also, I believe it's the executive decision after you have buy-in and you want those guys to feel like they've earned the right, busted their ass, taken all the motherfuckings from me, all the fucking running it from me, all the discipline from me all week long. I wanted the buy-in that they knew. I trusted them. They trusted me to make the right decision at the end of the day. But if they said something I didn't like or something like that, I'm going to make the executive decision at the end of the day. But I also am going to at least hear and say, all right, what do you like here? They have a better feel for the game than I do on the sideline as the coach. So I would always take that in consideration. And I know it happens because I talked to Sark, Lane, Saban, Pete Carroll. They all do it. They've all done it. They've all done it in big games. They do it all the time. And I know it happens. I just think that for Dan Campbell to play in the league, played with you, Tank, played in your era, for a player and then now coach to go for those 2 fourth downs, and to me was disheartening because I was like, God damn, you understand how hard it is to get to this point as a player. And now not to let your guys have an opportunity to go up 17, or if you do want to put your foot on their neck and go for it on fourth down, which you should have caught the ball. Nobody would be talking right now about this. But the second one makes the first one look worse. It magnified it by the second one going for it on an empty with a guy that's a stiff who ain't going to run at all. Made it real easy for me to defend as a DC.
I think the mistake that he made was taking the same approach that he took in the regular season. Right? In the regular season, he went for a lot of fourth downs and was successful. And the ones that he didn't get
success rate.
Yeah, they were inconsequential, right? You got another game the next week. You know, hey, you know, the media.
Nobody's watching you like this.
Yeah, right. You're not the last, four, teams in the league. And I think that's the problem. We had a situation like that where all year we played our base defense. And we got in the playoffs and played against Steve Smith, played our base defense, and he cooked us, right? And then the next year, we played our base defense all year, and in the playoffs, we double-teamed the shit out of their best guy because playoff football, it's all or nothing. So I think as a young coach, he made the mistake of carrying what from the regular season to the postseason, and he got snake bit.
Eddie Manyweather. Shut the fuck up.
Eddie's back.
Eddie's back now after the Cowboys fucking and his boy Dak choked it off. He's back now. Cowboy fan. Smitty, you gotta go.
Man, I got Spectrum in the back right now, man. Shout out to my guy Fred. My cable or whatever, my Wi-Fi been tripping all week.
Cable guy, like that's your homie or something?
Nah. That would be some hood stuff, wouldn't it? If I just, hey, bro, hey.
You gotta know one of somebody. I got a guy for everything. I got a guy. That's all we say. We got a guy.
So if I ask you right now, like, hey, JB, I need somebody to give me a plug for Super Bowl tickets for the discount. You got somebody right now.
Right now, got a guy. Yep.
If I said,
you know him too. I've introduced you to him, the Pump Brothers.
If I said, JB, I need some free alcohol, some free bottles for an event I'm throwing this weekend. You know somebody right now. Right now, easy. By the way, if you do need that for out there, I got that guy. Yeah. Last thing, if I say I need an AE for the homeboy by the mall, you know somebody right now who's ready to get to work. Depends on if I use the AE specifically for myself or not. Yeah, I do have one though. Hey, well, it's good to know that, man. Big Tank, man. Flex with me one more time before I jump off, my brother.
Yeah, brother.
I appreciate you, man. I'm still Team Lamar, and don't forget that. Okay. Y'all finish the show. Let me get this Wi-Fi right, and I'm gonna holler at y'all later, man. Pound the like button. All right, Smitty, peace. All right, it's the Tank Johnson JB show. Here we go. Let's dive into a few things for the next 10 minutes that I got you. Harbaugh, he came on. I think he had full autonomy in the hiring. That's why it took as long as it did. They hired him first. Then the GM was hired yesterday. His brother's own guy from the Ravens. Not the GM for the Ravens, but an assistant who's now going to be the GM in LA. I think they did it the right way. The Spanos has finally figured it out. They not only paid a guy, but they now let him have full autonomy and hire the GM as the CEO head coach should, just like Michael Lombardi said. You agree to that or not? You think the Chargers are making a different move inside the culture of this thing? Because the Chargers are known to charger. Maybe they finally figured it out.
Yeah, I think they've made the same mistake over and over by kind of, taking personal control of a lot of the decision makings, kind of regardless of what the head coach's wishes are or whatnot. I think they're understanding now there's a lot more to lose and a lot more to gain with success in Los Angeles. And, for the first time, they may be stepping out of the way and letting Harbaugh have the ability to kind of build it so that they can have the blame. The blame can be on someone else, because for years, the Spanos family has wanted the blame. They've taken the blame, and now they're going to let someone else build it. And I do think Harbaugh, given if he can build his culture, he can build a winning culture like he's done at Stanford, 49ers, Michigan, and hopefully now the Chargers.
Yeah, I agree. Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll, two older guys over the 70 years, still 71 plus. They still have a lot of energy. It seems like they want to coach. There's only two jobs open. One of them is Pete Carroll already coached that. He's not going there. So there's two jobs open. One of them only for Pete, two for Bill. But Bill, I don't see going to Washington, and I don't see going to Seattle. Don't mind Seattle for Bill, but it seems like Bill's not going to just take any job, and neither would Carroll. Do those two ever coach again?
as hard as it is to say, I think there is a certain level of ageism. I think they have coached. NFL coaches are getting substantially younger, JB, and the game is going to a younger culture, and these kind of like dictator head coaches, at least in Bill Belichick, I think that ship has sailed. You know, I don't think he's ever going to get the configuration of a once in a generational quarterback like Tom Brady, a defense that is, I mean, so many Hall of Famers. And, you know, I think if he goes anywhere, he'll be a below average coach who struggles to create the culture that he once ruled under. I think that culture is largely gone at the NFL level. I mean, you're
saying adapt or die. He won't do.
He won't do. I don't think he's gonna take the chance of these young players coming in and make. He wouldn't put up with what's going on, and that's not gonna change, man. These players are coming out of college entitled, with a pocket full of money, and I just don't think that Bill Belichick has the time. The time is what I don't think he has to reverse a culture like that.
Yeah, I think we're just in the capri wearing. Vic Fangio could not work with Mike McDaniel because McDaniel wanted a rah-rah guy, and Fangio's like, I'm in the booth. I'm old school. I guess we're getting rid of all the old school guys, man. Probably why I won't coach again. Rajon Rondo, man, arrested in your neighborhood back in Indiana. I love Rajon. He's one of the last old school guys, nutty gutty cat. He's got some grit to him, some street in him. Him and his brothers, they always at it at the games. Bad look for the NBA, or just bad look on Rajon?
Yeah, I think he had a situation a few weeks ago, I want to say, with the spouse, and it seems to be snowballing, and I really hate to see that, because I'm seeing like a little bit of like, falling off the edge, and I'm not quite saying like Delonte West level yet, but I mean, like, he was always a real headstrong guy who looked like, man, he was just bred to be a point guard. And anytime you leave that and you don't have that energy where you can get off and you can and do that, I think a lot of players struggle. JB, players struggle when you leave. You're
not the guy no more.
Yeah, well, you're not the guy no more. And some of these guys, like I always said, like, if a linebacker wasn't a linebacker, they damn near might be a serial killer, right? Because if anybody who wants to go and hunt and put a hurt and hit on somebody all the time, like, that's a unique person. And to have that outlet for football is like cool. You get that out. And same with point guards. They're like a small general, if you will. And when you don't have the ability to be that general anymore, man, I think it struggles. They struggle.
It's interesting you say that. I used to cut dudes because they wanted to be cut without saying they wanted to be cut. They want to be cut. We call them fake ass good boys. They did dumb shit because they knew they weren't good enough to make the roster, so they would intentionally go do some dumb shit they knew was against the rules or my rules to get cut, to save face from getting cut as not a good player, but yet a shitbird. I'd rather be going out as JB cut me, so later I can say he played me, it's favoritism, whatever, save face amongst my peers. And I've talked to a guy in the NBA yesterday who said he sees that with retired NBA players. He sees a Ja Morant now in the limelight, and I'm not saying Rondo is, but I need to go be in the limelight. I want to be in the limelight again. You think that's a real thing?
I think they struggle with it, man. More so than I think football players, man, because those guys know helmets, fan adulation and all of that stuff.
Everybody knows them.
Everyone knows them, and all of a sudden, man, when that phone stops ringing and you're less important, man, guys, they lose a sense of self. I mean, I'll be the first to tell you that, like, they always say, like, you know, football is what I do, not who I am. And that's really easy to say. It's a lot more to, like, live out. You know, like, when you're a football player or basketball player, that's a holistic situation. That's who you are, and that's what at the current time. And I think it's tough. You know, I actually had the unfortunate experience of kind of hitting rock bottom and going to jail when I was playing in the NFL. And so when I left the game, it was a little bit different in terms of, like, understanding what that rock bottom was. And so I think a lot of players don't experience that. And when you retire, you've got a pocket full of money, you think all your ideas are correct, and you get into this world where you're truly an outsider for the first time in your life. And that being an outsider and trying to, like, jump into business and all that stuff, we realize it's a lot harder than we thought, JB. And a lot of guys go through deep, dark depression as a result of facing that reality.
Yesterday, I went on a little rant about the NBA and Luka scoring 73, Booker having 62, Towns scoring 62, Embiid 70, all in the same week. I attributed that to just I think we're in a buddy system now, not only in the NBA, but in the NFL. I think everybody's about protecting each other's bags, I guess is the way to say it. I think everybody, which I'm not mad at, but at the same time, it's like, where's the competitiveness? I want to be the guy to stop you from scoring 73 on me, on my team. At least Jalen Rose and them were trying to hack Kobe. Kobe was just Kobe was just a different dude. They were trying to throw bodies at him in that game. I remember because I watched it. A lot of the fanboys on social media never saw it, and they think that Luka's now the GOAT. This is what pisses me off, Tank. Luka had a guy kicked out of a game for heckling him on the road, which you're supposed to do the last time I checked. And then when he scored 70, he went into the fucking stands like he was the best thing since sliced bread. So you can antagonize the crowd, but you can't be antagonized. It just, to me, is what irks me in this generation of player. And this is my point to this whole thing. Yesterday, the Charlotte Hornets, who Jordan sold, I guarantee it, if this was happening under his watch, he'd have went down there and probably choked the fuck out of the mellow ball. But the Charlotte Hornets were down 25, and this was their bench. That was real because I was watching it because I bet on some games. That was happening down 25 by a guy that has yet to – I mean, he's played very sparingly since he's been in the NBA. And we expect to sit here and try to force me to say – I think Luka would do this to the Detroit Bad Boys. Get the fuck out of it. These guys are all fanboys of each other. They want each other to do well, which is good, especially for some inner city, some brothers. But, dog, where the competitiveness? Jordan and Kobe be rolling over in their grave. Not Jordan, but Kobe be rolling over in his fucking grave if this was the league. And I'm glad Kendrick Perkins finally came out and said it's not good for the league. Coming from a defensive guy, because this shit is the norm now. 60-point nights is the norm. That should be like record book shit. It's the norm now. And these guys are losing. Some of them are losing, which we've never seen a 62-point guy lose the game like we did with Booker the other day. And two, I think, what's the old white boy that has the fucking horrible tan that's on ESPN, the Legler.
Legler.
He made a good point. Legler came out and said they're losing tells you that the flow of the game is so fucked up and it's so off. When a guy is solo dolo and doing all this and they're losing, it tells you it's not coming through the offense. It's not natural. It's not in the flow. And he's like, I've never seen guys scoring 60 and 70 and lose. He goes, that tells you that there's a lot of watching. There's a lot of allowing. And it just seems like the NBA, the NFL's headed that way, as you and I say all the time. professional sports is just becoming a very, very hard watch for older guys like myself, I guess.
Well, listen, I mean, I think defense and stopping the guy comes from an alpha personality. Like, I'd be damned if you dog me.
Do me like this. Yeah.
Do me like this. And we're losing the alpha. They're taking the alpha off the top of all of our leagues, right? In the NFL, you can't hit a guy to send a message. I'm hitting you now so you won't come across the middle in the second half. Like, that's gone, right? And in the NBA, sending a message to a guy when he goes to the bucket, and that all comes from the spirit of an alpha dog. And everyone looks up to like LeBron as this like king. And I'm a huge LeBron fan, but like I would rather see these guys want to go at the king instead of not piss off the king. So I think that's what it comes with. I think they're taking the alpha spirit out of sports at every level: youth, high school, college, pro, and we're just being left with a bunch of beta ball. I mean,
yeah,
look at this,
I agree.
I mean, come on, dog. Luka, I feel like I could guard Luka. Shit, if we play 21,
I'm being honest. I feel the same way. Like, cats don't body them. They don't fucking physicality them. They don't hit them. Look at this shit, homie. Like, you think this is greatness? Like, I'm just trying to figure out. Like, you want to see greatness? How about watch this slow white motherfucker who they say can't play now? Really? Luka just dropped 73, but this motherfucker can't play now? Get the fuck out of here, man. It blows my mind on the narratives that get pushed out here. It really does. I don't know. Let's end the show. Hell yeah, hell nah. We got a few for you. Appreciate you joining us, staying on after Smitty tapped out. Hell yeah, hell nah. The Chargers will make the playoffs next year.
I say hell no. I think it's going to take Harbaugh at least one full season to get his culture in there and get everything to line up right. So hell no for next year, but year after that, I think he has a good shot.
I think the AFC West is going to be so much better next year. It's going to be very, very interesting to say the least. I think you finally have a good coach in Denver with a system that's going in place there. Whatever they do with Russell Wilson, I think the Chargers finally have a guy that's going to be able to demand greatness and get it out of Justin Herbert. And Keenan Allen, I think it'll be a 1-2 punch, top 3 or 4 in the league. And then I think you have a Raiders, Antonio Pierce-led team who have bought in solely to AP. And I think they'll run through a wall for him. And I think that makes it very interesting in the AFC West, which Mahomes has been able to walk through for the last 6 years. And let's be honest, those 3 teams have one playoff appearance in that same time span. So I think it's gonna be interesting. I'm glad that I want to see competitive balance in this league and in the divisions. So I'm gonna say hell yeah, though. I think the Chargers actually do. I think you can do it. Look what D'Amico did in Houston. So I think you can do it. I just think that with a guy like Herbert, I want to see if he's really the guy or is he just another guy. And I think Harbaugh is the guy to get it out of him. Another interesting hell yeah, hell nah. Jim Harbaugh will win a Super Bowl when it's all said and done.
God, I say hell no. I just think that I don't think the quarterback that they got is talented enough. They're going to have to start over. Keenan Allen's getting old, and I just don't see it.
I think that's the only reason he came back to the league, of course, leaving his alma mater in Michigan. He played for the Chargers, so there's always it's a small circle, this football thing. Let me tell you, it seems like it's not, but it is because he's coming back full circle to the team that he played with. There's always a tie. There's always somebody That's the only reason you go back there. But let's be honest. He wasn't at Michigan because he didn't play there. Let's be honest.
True.
So I think he's striving for it. And if anybody can do it, I think he's done it at every level. FCS, Stanford, Michigan, Super Bowl with the Niners. Could have won that game very easily against his brother. I think he'll go back. I think he's going to get it done at the end of the day. So I'll say hell yeah. Hell yeah, hell no. Bill Belichick will coach again.
Hell no.
He's not going to get the all-time wins. 15 wins. He needs 15, Tank.
I don't think it's going to happen. I've talked to two of my former coaches this week, Coach Mike Zimmer and Jay Hayes, and I think there's an ageism thing going on in the NFL right now where I think they want to see younger and younger coaches. And I honestly think that the older coaches are not really willing to put up with what's coming into the league now. I just don't see. I think he's going to stay 15 wins away because I don't see a place where he can go and do that.
Damn. So you're tied into this situation. I know you talked to Roger. You've been on these boards and these committees.
Yep.
Is that not grounds for a possible lawsuit from Bill Belichick?
I mean, yeah. Ageism is a thing, and you can sue anyone for anything in 2024 and beyond. But I just don't think. I think he's done enough. I mean, you've got 6 trophies in your shelf. I don't think that. I don't think he wants to fight that fight. He knows the power of the NFL. I think that would just be an uphill fight that he might have to fight until he hits the dirt.
I can see him not coaching this year. I think I'm going to say hell yeah, he will coach again. I think he'll coach next year, though. Either Andy Reid will step away. I think the Buffalo Bills, if they don't figure it out.
Andy looked tired after that win, man.
I'm telling you, I think he is cooked on the Tonys, the Kelseys, the Swifts. I think it's a draining thing, man. He's 65. Listen, people say he's lost weight. That's called stress, homie. I'll be honest. It ain't.
I've never seen the coach win like that and get off the field like, whoo, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah, like he's not like he ain't too fucking just he's not. I agree with you on that. Hell yeah, hell no. If Mike Shanahan don't win the Super Bowl, he is on the hot seat.
Hell no. Hell no.
How many times can this motherfucker go and we keep giving him excuses with this roster not to win the motherfucker?
But the way you have to look at this is in windows. I think their window will still be open beyond this year. Maybe not. I mean, listen, he gets the far least criticism for a coach who doesn't have the success in the big moments. But I truly believe with that roster, their window for success is still open.
Now, let me ask you a hell yeah, hell no. I'm just going to make it up before we get out of here. If they don't win, hell yeah, hell nah, the Niners have to go get a big-time QB.
I'd say hell yeah because you can imagine this offense operating at a much higher clip with once in a generational quarterback. Brock Purdy, he's serviceable, but I think this offense could. But would they have the salary cap space? Is my question.
I mean, the Chiefs figured it out. The Rams won a Super Bowl, figured it out. Tampa Bay figured it out. When everyone talks about the salary cap thing, well, there's the only reason their roster is good because he's not making no money. That's not true. There's ways to do this thing and figure it out. As you know, other teams have won Super Bowls in the last 3 years, figured it out.
It would be a 1 or 2 year rental type of situation.
Like the Rams did.
Yeah, I think it would go like that.
Much love. Pound the like, man. Follow Tank on Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back tomorrow on Work Boot Wednesday. Much love to Tank and all the guests today. Michael Lombardi, Steve Kim, Dr. Jesse Morse. Loaded lineup all week long. Shout out to Peyton. Jarrett Payton, the son of Walter Payton, yesterday for jumping on and giving us some insight in the Bears in Chicago, Tank's old stomping ground. Well, in the show like this, Tank, even Jarrett, who's calls games and is there with Chicago, and it gives away the Walter Payton Award every year, obviously. Mahomes is up for it this year. And he's like looking at me side-eye like it's kind of ironic. The Walter Payton Award is now in the Super Bowl with Swift and all this other shit. He kind of mentioned that. It was funny. He said it's tight-lipped up there as far as keeping Justin Fields, trading for him, making a move. To end the show, where are you at with that? I think you should keep him at this point. I like where he's headed. I just think you got to build around him. You start all over with a new quarterback, and it just is what it is. I'm not sold on any of these guys coming out of college. And I think if you give Eberflus a new shot at this, you're telling him, get new coordinators and let's build around Justin. But Jared don't know. He said it's really tightly lipped.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see the kid happy, and I want to see him happy and playing football. It just seems like he's just been upset with the coaching situation. I think it's been a square peg in a round hole, and I want to see him get a coach that highlights his attributes and see what that does. Because I'm a Bears fan. I was singing Super Bowl Shuffle in my draws in 1985 in Gary, Indiana, and I just don't think the fans can take 3-4 more years of just finding out a new system. We got a little familiarity with Jay Fields, and I think he could do it with the right type of coach.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with it too. I hope they keep him and give a guy a chance. We rotate guys like dirty draws in the league, man, and we think the next QB is going to be the guy when we're just throwing him into the wolves again. If you throw another rookie quarterback in this league, in the man's league, with a bad roster, you're going to get a bad result. It is what it is. So,
facts.
Shout out to Tank. Everybody join us. We'll see you tomorrow. Pound the like. Peace.
Missing, we switched it and filled the gap. Smitty and Jason Brown, we killed it, yeah, it's a wrap. We want the games we're missing, we switched it and filled the gap.
You are now tuned in to the Coach JB.